You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another live reactions right here on A2DRadio.com for game number 7, although it definitely doesn't feel like a game 7 here on A2DRadio.com. Unfortunately, the score being 3-0 Islanders right now. Flyers getting absolutely outworked and outplayed in these last two periods, and it shows on the scoreboard. But we are here because, like gluttons, we love punishment. We can't ignore it. We have to. We are Philadelphia fans after all. And we thank everybody here who will be joining us today. I am Matt Sinsuti, along with the broken one, Rob Povia.
What's up, fellas?
And the one and only Mr. Michael Chromiak, Chrome.
What's up, guys?
And I failed, by the way, in the last one. Ginger Gang, all the way.
Oh.
But anyway. And the one and only Mr. No Notes, Tom Arnone.
I'll bring more energy than the Flyers. I can guarantee the family that tonight.
Just tear off the Band-Aid now, guys. Let's sit back. Let's have a conversation about it and try to get it off our chests.
Absolutely. But before we dive in,
Yeah, a bunch of psychiatrists here. We're all going to lay on the couches together tonight and just vent it out.
yeah, and the last thing I want to see right now is Marty Brodeur. But anyway, so moving on. Before we dive into what's up?
Just another little gut check with that commercial popping up.
Yeah, another reminder of some things. But anyway, before we dive into the therapy session here, it is brought to you by Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find him in Cherry Hill, Burlington, and Princeton, New Jersey. And you can find him on the web at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Any aches and pains, go to Dr. Paul Vidal, and you won't have them anymore. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Okay, might as well get started. Michael Cambria starting us off with maybe next year, Flyers fans. I don't know if he's an Islanders fan or if he's a Flyers fan, but either way, Dan Unger saying, I'm hurting tonight, fellas. Oh, we all are. We all are hurting tonight.
And Mike's not wrong. Mike's not wrong. Flyers fan, not Flyers fan, maybe next year. You know what I mean? Whoever he's a fan of.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob Brinkman saying, Jesus Lord.
It's his fault.
Yeah.
It's his fault for not showing up for this.
You're not here. You're not here, Rob, so we're calling your ass out now. You're supposed to be here.
juju.
You chose not to be. But anyway, Carol Marino saying, waited for this game. Flyers, can you do this? Oh, I mean, stranger things have happened in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but it's a tough, tall order to fill right now going into this third period down 3-0.
Especially with the way the game has flowed. It's really come down to passing, and that's been the story of this game. The Flyers' poor-ass passing, haphazardly causing turnovers in comparison to the New York Islanders, who are smooth, clean, precise, and just, look like they're a well more polished team again and have gamed up in this Game 7. But as we talked pre-show, there was a time back in 2010 where the Flyers were also down in a Game 7, down 3-0. So let's go. Got to keep the hope, got to keep the faith until the final horn.
Yeah, I would love to be on that side. I would love to be on that side, Robbie, and usually I am. But this is an effort and focus thing, and you're getting outplayed, outskated, out-hustled, everything. You know what I mean? Focus place. Just controlling the puck for a second. I mean, you're talking about a hockey team that can't control the puck for a second. I mean, everything lands on the Islanders' stick. They look 100 times better. And what we really thought after Game 6 is we really sat back here after our reactions to that game, and we said, you know what? This has got to be hard on the Islanders. But you outplayed us. You have 54 shots, and you still lose a hockey game, right? So we're sitting back saying it's got to be tough on the Islanders, right? That their mojo's got to be broken a little bit. Well, we were wrong. We were wrong because it's been the same story all series. There hasn't been any adjustments. You want to blame it on coaching or blame it on hard effort, whatever, or just the team's that much better than you? I find it hard to believe that the Islanders are this much better than us. So what does it come down to? A little 1-2. And what I watched tonight and throughout this series, for the most part, has that 1-2's been missing. You're talking about an Islanders team that feel like they control the puck all the time, and if they're not controlling the puck all the time, they're getting odd man rushes consistently, and that's been this series, this entire series. You've been playing from behind, and when you have had leads, they haven't been safe. So we haven't played well and still forced a game 7. So you know why? Because of our goaltender. And he can't, you know what I mean? I can't expect him to come out and shut him out tonight after he had 49 saves the other goddamn night. So who wants to step up? Where are my captains? Where are my A's? Where are my stars tonight? Because you got to be the ones that set a tone in a game like this. So the people out there who want to make excuses tonight for them stars, I got an issue with. Tonight's not the night for excuses for anybody. It's call-out city. There's been one guy who stood on his head in this series. And a rest of guys who have been like, right? So in a game 7, I need my stars. And my stars were missing tonight. And that's what's disturbing. Now, in 20 minutes, could things change? Sure. The way it's been played out, I mean, you got to come out with the biggest brass set in the country to win this third period and put up a 4 spot. And I don't see that.
It's one thing to fold under the pressure if you're a young player or a rookie. But for the veterans, no excuse. Not especially coming out and still not putting the puck on net, making poor passes, poor decisions, not leading your team. Yeah, I agree.
All lines have been bad.
Yeah, and honestly, this has been the story of the playoffs, guys. You know, let's be real. We beat Montreal in 5 games, but we got outplayed the majority of that series. 6 games. Right, 6 games. Got outplayed in that series, come into this series, and they have been absolutely steamrolled. It's amazing we got to a game 7. And again, I'm with you guys. You know, we've I don't want to say given excuses, but we've given a little bit of leeway to some guys. But this is definitely the time now where guys got to be called out on the floor and held accountable. And you know, this guy's jersey right here, I tried to wear this for some good juju tonight. Doesn't seem to be working. He's first and foremost right in the forefront, guys. He has to show up.
He's on like a milk cart. I can't even see him.
Yeah. I mean, like literally
back on there.
Third period just started, and boy, I feel sorry for Bill Daniels saying, watching all the way from Poland, I woke up at 2 a.m. for this. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for you, brother.
I'm sorry, brother, but we appreciate you joining us here. And hey, this is a place to sit and have a conversation about it, right?
Oh, or you can yell about it. We don't even need to have a conversation. You could just freaking let's let it fly tonight. I mean, let it fly. You don't even need the. I mean, we're here to talk to you. Yeah, absolutely, but let it fly. I mean, let it fly on the comments.
Yelling is talking in Philadelphia anyway, so it's okay. Yeah,
handsy, loud. Yep.
It's been a whole lot of the same story. You guys touch on it, but you know, the neutral zone is being controlled by the Islanders, and that's so crucial as well. And really, I haven't seen any part of the ice that I've seen the Flyers look any kind of comfortable. They are in their heads, they're in their faces, they're making plays. The Islanders I'm talking about, and the Flyers just have looked like they've been pressing since the puck dropped.
Yeah, the only place the Flyers look better is sitting down on the bench. It's the only place they look comfortable. And that's not a shot. It's like the only place they've looked comfortable. They haven't looked comfortable in the middle of the ice. They haven't looked comfortable behind the net. They haven't really looked comfortable anywhere. So to your point, I agree 100%. There's been times, there's been glimpses, right? I know Pove and Brinks were yelling about this the other night. There's definitely been glimpses of them playing to the same level as the Islanders, if not better. But that consistency hasn't been there throughout this series. And it's way more in the Islanders' favor. If you tell me who would win this series objectively, it would smell like the Islanders, the way they've outplayed us. You know what I mean? And the Flyers were able to have some guts and take this to 7. You know what I mean? They've been able to have some guts, and a lot of that has to do with our goaltender and listen, just putting some pucks on net.
So
something we haven't done in this game.
This is an interesting stat they just showed up on broadcast. The Flyers have allowed in all 7 games 3+ goals.
9 shots. 9 shots. Sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. I'm going to say this right now. That can't happen. I don't give a shit what the excuse is. 3+ goals a game? how the fuck are we in a Game 7 right now?
No, and this
that's
is
unbelievable.
I mean, the shots at this point too. At least when we talked the other night, we talked about quality shots, right? Like, their shot total was down, their shot count was down, but they were taking quality shots and they were finding the net. Here, it's just a lot of dumping it in front of the goaltender and just kind of on a wing and a prayer and hoping to get something to happen, guys. And it's not happening. They're not controlling loose pucks. Second chance opportunities aren't happening. And
they're getting outworked on the boards.
Yeah, and they've been absolutely dominated on the boards. And even when there is, they do get what looks like a pretty good look at a shot, we're seeing too cute with the extra passes again, or they're missing the net.
You know what I'm saying, Matty? It's like a prison trip to the back of the net versus the Islanders in the series. A little trip to the joint. You know what I mean? That's it. A little 5 minute to the joint. I mean, that's how it's been. I probably on two hands, I can count the amount of times we've won behind their net. They
need to score a goal, guys, in the next, I would say, 3 or 4 minutes to give themselves a real chance here.
Yeah, I mean, the only way, barring the Islanders making really stupid mistakes here and starting to play lazy, which the Islanders have not done really at all in this series, which I have to give them a ton of credit for. The Islanders have never once played lazy in this series. They've never sat back on a lead, not once. They've always pressed to try and get more.
Here we go. Turnover again, trying to get the puck out of the zone.
And
I've never
again,
struggle getting a puck out of their own zone in my life. I just can't. You just can't make it up. I mean, was that nothing? That's nothing. Okay.
I swear to God that the team that got beat by Pittsburgh in 6 has more dignity right now, and that team was here, and Pittsburgh was here that year. It was ridiculous.
Ooh, Carter.
I do not. I'm going to say this again. He's got to be careful with that stick handling. He's got to be a little bit more picky with it. I mean, I love the fact that he feels confident enough to do it, but the problem is that there's times to do it and there's times not to do it.
Well, you know what though, Matty, is that also a result of the fact that he maybe lacks a little bit of the confidence in his team that they're going to be able to control the puck back there?
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching, they're having trouble. If you're watching right now, they're having trouble getting the puck out. I mean, it's unbelievable, the trouble getting the puck out. Now they finally get a little something, and we'll see now if we can actually control the puck in their zone for more than a second.
Come on, boys.
We didn't even get the shot on the net, and that was a terrible pass to Provy, who was nowhere near that pass, by the way. I know Provy's got long arms, but they're not that fucking long.
Guys, how many guys came to play in a Game 7?
And what was that, Provy? Mishandling the puck in front of your fucking goaltender. Provy, what the fuck, dude? Seriously.
He's had a couple issues with that tonight.
This ain't the game to have those issues, guys.
No,
not consistently.
I just want to know how, for the people out there listening, how many guys came to play tonight. You know what I mean? If you can even count anybody who came to play tonight.
One.
Yeah, I would challenge everybody here who's watching us right now in the chat. I want you to tell us who you think has stepped on this ice ready to play tonight and why you have. It wouldn't shock me if we don't get a single response to that.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it. So that's why I was wondering. I wanted to know
I want to challenge
process. Yep. How do you guys feel about it? Because this is unacceptable. I mean, in a Game 7, right? To lose in a series happens, right? In a Game 7, your juices are ready to go. Your juices are ready to go. So for you to look like you don't want to be there at times, and perception's reality. So when you're getting outworked, that becomes real.
Here it is again.
Yep.
I mean,
and
you're talking about a team that's up 3-0, that's still dominating you, still bending you over. This is what we're watching. We're watching a complete bend over tonight at our houses. Or wherever we're at tonight. This is what we're watching, and it's a shame. It's a shame because this hockey team's better than the way they played in this series. At least I thought they were, and I know you guys did as well.
I still think, yeah.
Oh, we got to fight.
Oh, here we go.
We got to fight with Lawton.
Yeah, and hopefully he doesn't get his ass kicked. Because then,
I mean, here's the thing, though. Hopefully that juices the team up a little bit here and kind of says, hey, play with some bigger balls right now because what the fuck? I mean, here's the thing. If you're the Islanders, you don't want to do that, even if you lose that fight, because the same thing happened to the Flyers way back in the day when we were playing the Penguins. Carcillo fought Talbot, beat the shit out of him, and then the Penguins reversed their fortunes and won the game on us. So it's if you're the Islanders, there's really no need to take this fight. If you're Lawton, there's every reason to do this. You got to try and juice this team up somehow. Even if you get your ass kicked, it doesn't matter.
If you're Lawton, you're thinking about
the same effect.
We got Captain Obvious Steppy down here. What's up, fellas? Not a good one so far.
No. Thanks, Greg. And if I'm Lawton, you could headbutt right there, and I'm good with it. You know what I mean? At that point, because you're left with just getting totally outworked. I mean, that's going to be the common theme of the night: is outworked and out hustled. And you talk about the things you can control as an athlete. You know what I mean? Effort, energy, focus. Right? I mean, they're controllable things. Right? You know what I'm saying? I can't control outcomes, but I can control them things. They're the controllable. So when you come out tonight and in a game 7, you don't control them things. That's an issue. So who's that on? That's all my leadership.
And you know what, guys? It's 3-0. It's not anything that's insurmountable, but man, with the way this series is going and the way this game has looked, 3-0 feels like 15-0.
Yeah.
I'll give you $2,000, Chrome, cash if they come back and win this game. And I love my Flyers. If they come back and win this game, I'll give you $2,000, guys. Watch, goal right now.
That would
have been awesome. That would be great.
So we got.
That would have been sweat.
So we got Yosef. You got Yosef Khan chiming in. The one thing I'll give Trotz credit is that he gets teams ready for Game 7s. That's one thing I've always had respect for him, as well as bringing the cup here. But he has a history of blowing leads. That is true, but to be fair, the Capitals blew the leads to the Penguins, who were on par with the other team. Right now, this Flyers team is not on par with the Islanders at all. That's the negative side of it.
I thought Don had a pretty interesting question, guys, and I'll pose it to you. Do you guys feel that Carter Hart is mentally tired at this point?
No.
He could be. I would say it right now. If I was Carter Hart, in between this fucking second period, third period, I said it to you guys before we went live. I'll say it now live. If I was him, I would have taken my pal and I would have smacked the first motherfucker that I saw with it as hard as I fucking could. And I'd be like, what the fuck is this bullshit, guys? I win you 2 games in overtime, and this is how you repay me? Fuck all y'all in this fucking bullshit effort. I mean, literally, Hart has every right to do that right now.
Yeah, but you know what? I would say no. I'm with Tom just because, we're still seeing him out there and making plays and making big saves. I don't see any lackadaisical effort from him whatsoever. He still, to me, has max effort out there. I just don't think he's had the help in front of him.
He's the least
tonight.
The least. And the only guy who's not an issue, actually. He's the only guy that I can say who's not an issue right now.
Hey, Clinky's right. If Hart wasn't in it, it'd be 7-0 right now. And Clinky knows a thing or two. He saw his team in the qualifiers lose to a team just like the Islanders and the Montreal Canadiens.
Sorry, go ahead, Robbie.
Mentally drained, tired, no. He's a young kid. He's a well-matured kid, right? But I will say on that one goal where he didn't get off the post very well, and when I believe it was the Islanders' second goal where he had to come diving back, they were blaming it more on a screen. He saw the pass. His positioning has been off, and that's a little disturbing to me because that's the greatest point of this young kid's game is his positioning. You saw him working it in the crowd before during the round robin series or whatnot. That's been drained a little bit. So not mentally drained, but it is tiring, especially your first playoffs. He'll be better for it.
Absolutely. Get a guy his beak wet. You know what I mean? I mean, how many young kids his age get to play in Game 7s, period. So,
true.
That's huge. But I mean, I haven't seen anything from him differently. You know what I mean? I've seen a lack of play in front of him, like Maddie said.
Chuck makes a good point here in the comment that the Flyers need an elite forward to score who can make something happen nearly at will. They don't have one right now. That man's supposed to be Jake Voracek, and you saw that earlier in these playoffs, but past his prime. Yeah, you need to replenish that role. I think you need a guy that not only can score the puck, but can score the puck at about 230 pounds.
And that's where Konechny needs to step up. That's
45, right, Maddie?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where TK needs to step up because TK is supposed to be our top goal scorer for the future, and he hasn't done shit.
Right, TK too, yeah.
And still young. So I mean, I'm okay with my babies not fully being here in a game 7. I'm okay with my babies not fully being here in a game 7. What I'm not okay with, and I'll never be okay with, is my vets and my captains and my A's. I can't be okay with that. That's like in any other sport. Like you're going to be okay when your best players don't show up? No, you're going to be called out. You're going to be called out.
Be okay with that.
And this is what it should be. So I don't care how old guys are at this point, whatever they're wearing on their sweater, or if they're just straight veterans. They're the guys who need to lead the night. And with 12 minutes to go right now, they haven't led the way for a pretty young team for the most part. The vets haven't led the way, and that's what it is. And we know. Well, listen, we're a year early for some of our success this year too. So we all know that, but that doesn't make it feel any better, because when you get to something like this, you want to win it, right? And the fact that we look like we're going to come up short is what stings the most right now, and we don't want to wait another year.
See, I'm with you in that I want to win it, but Tom, if I'm looking even at the least or the worst case scenario, I just want to see a better effort, and that's been the issue. Is this is just.
Yeah,
to me, this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I almost would have rather have seen them lose in overtime the other night than come out and put this effort out here on national television on a national NBC broadcast.
Yeah, this was an embarrassment for the Flyers. I mean, and it's just a perfect example of things that we need to work on. We need to work on we got to work harder. Like, we have to work harder, and we can't turn the puck over in our own zone. And we got to be smarter with our passing, and we have to be better on our power play, because we just had one that failed again. It's just, good God. I mean, to be fair, though, with the way that some of these things have been, the Flyers don't even deserve to win this game tonight. So it's just like, you know what? Whatever. If the better team won tonight. Maybe it's not the better team on paper, but it's the better team in this series.
One shot on that power play. So you're talking about heart. You're talking about gut check time. You're talking about, hey, I need to make a play. And you get one shot on the man advantage.
It's terrible.
We did just see one player that's been playing. You wanted the fan to reach out about guys that actually did show up. Knack showed up. He's been hustling. He's been forechecking all game, and you just saw another example of it there, creating a scoring chance. When it's your third or fourth line guy doing that, that's a problem. If it truly is a roster issue where you need to add that elite forward, you need to shed some of these veterans that didn't show up this year, I have confidence in Chuck Fletcher that he'll get that done based on the moves that he's made while in his position. Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that, Pro. I think that Fletcher has stepped in and he's proven. I think this city was jaded a lot when you look at, what we've seen in Philly with the Phillies, and then, having Colangelo step in with the Sixers and everything that kind of happened there. And I think because Hextall was such a beloved guy in this city that people were very, very critical of Chuck Fletcher stepping in. And I think that he has proven his worth, his ability to put together a team around the young guys. And no disrespect to Hexy, he built the core of this team at this point. That's going to move forward. But to me, it's like watching the Phillies of 2008. Ed Wade did a phenomenal job building a young core and building that farm system for that team to be able to make that run that they did in the late 2000s into the early 2010s. But he was never going to be the guy to get it over the top. He didn't know how to figure out how to turn that corner. And I don't know when Hextall's plan was. But you needed somebody like a Pat Gilligan. To me, I look at a guy like Fletcher as being that guy who was able to move in and kind of build those pieces, those other core pieces around there through free agency, through the draft, through trades, whatever they needed to do to get that team to that next level. And I think that we are going to be very happy with what Fletcher does going forward with this organization, what we're going to see over the next 2 years.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. I would have saved by Carter Hart right there.
Yeah.
But what I will say to you guys is I don't know if this team can score on a 5-on-2 right now. You know what I mean? I mean that's how like and that's
I'm with you, brother.
You're never gonna have a 5-on-2, but I don't think they can even score on a 5-on-2 right now. I mean that's how pathetic the power play looks. I feel like the Islanders will control the puck.
And that's where the coaches have to remind them and say, like, if you're having trouble getting in the zone, play like it's 5-on-5. Every time they adapt their play to the man advantage is when you see a serious drop. Just continue to keep on. If they're lining up 3-man wide on the blue zone, trying to eliminate your entry, because that's where this game was lost, on the entries. No doubt about that. That and the passing, as I said before.
They still can't enter the zone.
They still can't enter the zone. I'm just saying that if you played like you were on 5-on-5, right, you'd be better suited. You'd be much better suited. Yo.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, Bri,
but to answer,
change up the juju a little bit for us here, Bri.
I'm hoping.
Here we have Lisa Taylor saying, "Tell me who to support. I'm from Scotland and I have no clue." Well, you got to support Travis Konechny, Sean Couturier. You have to support Travis Sanheim, Ivan Provorov, Carter Hart, obviously.
Everybody.
Just
say everybody.
Just
say everybody. Just
all right. I'm just picking the young guys right now because, God damn it, these veterans are pissing me off right now.
Well, I don't know if she's.
I would only take one guy.
Or what players?
I would tell Lisa. I would tell you to support Carter Hart and go on from there right now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a Game 7 terrible performance, and it's 0 past City now. Now the young guys you expect to get better, right? But right now, I mean, that's if you're checking in from Scotland, start with Carter Hart and move from there.
Yep.
He's a huge building block moving forward. So I mean, he'd be number one on my list as well.
This is not the effort we expected, boys, whatsoever.
No, effort's an understatement. Like it truly is. You watch, anytime when we talk about playoff hockey, we always talk about what changes it from other sports in the postseason is that effort, right? It's from every team. Like win or lose, you see a ton of guys flying around, right? What I've witnessed tonight, and we all have, is the opposite of that when it comes to the Philadelphia Flyers. This hasn't been a hockey team that's flying around the ice tonight. This hasn't been a hockey team that's winning dumps into the boards. This isn't a hockey team winning behind the net. This isn't a hockey team even finding the middle of the ice in front of the net. So, I mean, you witness all the opposites of that, and that's a shame in a Game 7. It truly is.
Yeah, you definitely expect more of an effort coming out. You want those guys to be amped up, and I didn't get to see much of it, but from what I listened to,
that's just what's so frustrating, guys. The national televised game, and I'm hoping that this is not what people are expecting or what the way that people are going to be viewing this team around the league.
I don't care if this game
they did it to themselves.
Alaska. Hold on. I don't care if this game was played in Mystery, Alaska, and it wasn't aired, and there was 45 people there. This effort is shit. I don't care where it's played at.
You're right.
I don't care.
Right.
You can play.
Right.
Listen, I can do a little pond in my backyard. You can play it there, and there's 3 of us watching because of COVID, right? And we're sitting there watching, and that's it. And we're keeping our distance. And you better bring your energy then.
I will say this right now. With this, even if this is like how teams perceive us around the league, good. They do it at their own folly because this is not actually how the Flyers can play. We know they can play better than this. So if they think that this is what the Flyers will be like when they face them in the postseason and we learn from our mistakes and we play better the following season, they'll get butt fucked real quick by the Flyers and they'll learn real fast, oh, we underestimated them. Yeah, that's your own fault for believing the bullshit.
Do we dare consider maybe President's Trophy curse since they were considered the #1 overall seed and the President's Trophy winner?
No, that goes to Boston because they technically won it and they got eliminated in the second round pretty badly. They got beaten 5.
I'll be right back.
I mean, that's true, but if you think about it, Flyers are the #1 seed overall, right?
We lost due to the #1 seed though, because we got the big bullseye on our back and somebody was trying to shoot it and somebody got it. Yeah.
That's kind of like the mentality I'm having now. But it's like we were saying the other night, the Flyers are probably in a situation they probably shouldn't be in. Let's be real. They overachieved. And you know what? Because they got the #1 seed, expectations for everybody, and I'm pretty sure everybody here admitted expectations went higher when they got that #1 seed.
Man,
and I think we're seeing.
I usually don't.
We're seeing.
I don't think we were fooled, guys. I don't think we were fooled, though. This is what like first, second, third seed, fourth seed. We all knew what kind of hockey team it was. We thought it was a better hockey team than they performed in this series and in the playoffs. I think that's what we all expect. I don't know if anybody is saying Broad Street, but I think we all expected like these kind of effort games not to happen. You know what I mean? Win or lose. I thought we expected we go on a little run. The realists, right, said, oh, we go on a little run. Eastern Conference Finals, maybe. You know what I mean? We go on a little run right now. I don't think anybody expected the hoist trophies this year, but we also didn't expect to come out and look like this, like we have at times, and all of game 7 in this series. You know what I mean? Like too many times.
I almost had one there.
No, they can't even buy one right now.
All right, so
they can't even
pull the net that early.
Yeah, they did pull the goalie.
Wow, I told Clinky I expected around the 6-minute mark.
Yeah.
That way you try to make it 3 power plays, but you would need an adequate power play for that theory to work out.
Yeah.
You
need your power play to score.
You can't go 0-for in the semifinals.
No, absolutely. And that's my main point of like with some of the shit that we've been seeing from this Flyers team. Do they really deserve to win this series? No, they don't. They're not the better team in this series. Now, would we take it? We take it. We take it if we get it. But
can we put a new rule in, Matt? Matt, can we put a new rule in where you can just like take one guy with you? Like one guy who played well with you, and it would be like the only guy who deserves to advance in the series is the goaltender. That's it.
Yeah.
The only guy who deserves to advance.
There it is.
And
all right, that's it. That's the official nail in the coffin. 4-0 now for the Islanders.
That's a really gutsy move for 6 minutes left to go in a game to pull your goaltender.
Yeah, but
when you have 14 fucking shots, it's not gutsy. When are you gonna do it? I mean, you've sunk all, you have 14 shots. You're not getting any type of anything going. So you might as well just try something.
Well, according to Tristan Russo, he says, is Gabe Kapler coaching this team right now? It's funny because it kind of paralleled a comment that I made during the first period to a Flyers fan of mine, a friend of mine, and I go, man, I'm waiting for the Scooby-Doo moment where they rip off AB's mask and it's really Brett Brown. There's kind of parallels there for a bunch of different coaches.
It was Hackstall the whole time.
It was Hackstall the whole time, and I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for your sniveling kids.
Yeah, I'm not gonna blame the coaches for tonight.
No.
I can't blame coaches in game 7 effort games. Like if you're not bringing it, that's got to be, you got to be big time responsible. When you have 14 shots, I mean, you got to be responsible for this. I mean, that's why I said I can't, I can't overlook that.
Oh, they pulled the goalie again.
Yeah, I mean, I can't overlook that. That's why you have to pull the goalie the first time right there because you're not getting anything going.
It doesn't even matter.
Well, I mean, the reason why it confused me a little bit was because it was already 3-0, and I get game 7, go all out or nothing. But
here we go
2-0,
again.
Yeah, it makes sense. 2-0 makes sense. 1-0 makes sense. Pull them as soon as you can.
No, 3-0 makes sense.
It's tough. It's tough with that.
Well, you're going home though, so you might as well just try something. If you had like 35 shots, and you just weren't scoring, I would say no, you don't do it, right? You don't do it.
You'll eventually go in.
Yeah. You get a lot of action, but there's been zero action. I mean, it's like watching paint dry offensively.
So,
yeah.
I will say this though. I mean, not to totally put the blame on the shoulders of the Flyers, you got to give credit to this Islanders team. They make you look bad. They make you look bad by clogging up the neutral zone and clogging up, and it just shows that Trott's system does work.
Yeah, they can make you look bad.
Yeah,
we watched that this series, right, Robbie? You know what I mean?
And think about it this way: this was an Islanders team that couldn't even buy a spot in the playoffs until Barry Trotz got there. So that should tell you a lot about the coach that they have. And yeah, Matthew Barzal was a major part of that. But at the same time, though, you can have some of the best players in the world. John Tavares is one of the best players that the Islanders have ever had. What they do with him? Nothing. They had shit coaching, too, on top of it. So that didn't help anything. Trotz came there, and look at it.
Yeah, they'll get it.
But
if he tripped over a stick and the puck went in.
But I will say this, though.
Let me ask you guys, since I didn't really get to see much of it, this is the most I've gotten to see so far. How many times did they go for the cross-ice pass?
A lot, and it failed a lot.
Yeah, I figured as much because that's one thing the Flyers that have done a lot, and especially in the postseason, is they're looking for the pretty play instead of looking for the simple play. Or
100%.
Making the dirty play. They want 100%.
The pretty play. The Flyers have lacked play good decision in the slot. Both ends too. The Islanders have owned the slot in this game. Just absolutely owned it. Not getting a body on guys, and you saw that in that first goal. And that first goal, that just broke the spirits. And if you're that fragile, yeah, maybe you do need to be on the couch with us, with our expert panel of psychologists here to help you out.
Yeah, and it's not even about like it's not even trying to make it. They haven't even had the ability to try to make passes either.
Right.
In this game,
right.
It's been like that much pressure where like they just haven't controlled the puck. It's been that ugly of a game, in my opinion. Besides, outside of a few little moments and like spurts, it's been totally outplayed. Even in the grinding moments of the third, where you're like, it's time to go home. If you don't pick it up, we saw about what 2 minutes of like some big effort, maybe like a couple shifts from some guys of some rush in them, some fire for a little bit, and you're like, oh, where was this? And it went away real quick. We had a couple look like opportunities, and that was it. That was it, and that was pretty much the whole game. A spurt here, a spurt there, and here we are.
And Don, I hear you. You know, I mean, there is some solace with the Avs losing, who were a lot of our pick to represent the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup Finals, but they lost due to injury. They had 7 of their key starters out for that deciding Game 7, and they were down to playing their third string goalie, Michael Hutchinson, when Grubauer and Francois went off. And what really killed them was losing defenseman Eric Johnson early in that series. So, there's losing because your lineup's decimated, and there's losing when your team has been mostly, for the most part, healthy and are just getting outworked, outmanned. Again, early in this game, you saw it where there was 3 Islanders on the puck to 2 Flyers. That should not be. It should at least be 3-on-3.
And honestly, guys, you're in a Game 7 with a goaltender for the Islanders who's, coming in a little bit cold. He hasn't played every game, and this was an opportunity coming into what should have been a highly emotional game, and he stepped in, and they haven't gotten enough shots to him to even challenge him, to make him work. And I think that's a big missed opportunity for them to have your franchise goaltender in there, and for them kind of,
Listen, it looks like one just smoother, and like it looks like the Flyers never played with each other before, and it looks like the Islanders have been playing with each other for 10 years. If I have to tell you what the game feels like, that's what it feels like.
I mean, they're making them look like the 80s Oilers teams. I mean, they really have. It's been complete domination.
I'm like, how are the Islanders like a 6 seed or whatever the hell they were? You know what I mean? I'm like, how are that?
They had issues. They had issues during the regular season with injuries, and then they had problems with. They were trending in the wrong direction. They actually, believe it or not, had a hard time getting shots, and it's weird to say, but yeah, they had a real weird tail end before the break happened. But then after that, they took the break and recharged the batteries because they were a scary team before all that started happening late in the season.
Their defense broke down too.
That too,
Their defense broke down too. They were giving up 4 or 5 goals a game, and that defense is night and day. You know what I mean? You saw like Polak playing well in this series. Freaking just absolutely all blue liners for the Islanders have showed up and played in the series.
It's funny. I'm just watching these last few minutes here. You can just see like the Islanders defensemen are all over the place. Like
still
anywhere
playing.
There's an orange jersey. There's a white guy. Not a white guy, a white jersey.
They're up 4-0, guys, and they're still playing.
Yep. Yeah. Never take your foot off the gas. And that's one thing I will say that you cannot do. Never sit back on leads. I don't give a shit. People complain about, oh, you shouldn't run up the score. No, fuck that. They're never coming back in this game. Yeah, will it juice them up next time they face you? Sure. But if you're a strong enough team, you can handle that. At the end of the day, you never take your foot off the gas. Never take your foot off the gas.
I have to agree with that.
At this point, I just don't want to get goose egged on this game, to be honest with you. At this point, I just want to see a goal, please.
Matty, I agree. I half agree with you. Like if you're at 4-0, yeah, you take maybe you stay aggressive defensively, but offensively, take the foot off the gas a little bit. 2-0, I agree. Stay aggressive, get out there, keep putting shots on, be aggressive. But the one thing it's been the Phillies or the Flyers' Achilles heel is an inability to just close out these games. They get the lead and they sit back. It doesn't matter if it's 1-2 or anything. Like, we saw it. If they can close some of these games out, I think the series is already over. The Flyers are already in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, they just got outplayed, outworked this entire series. I mean, like Maddie was saying, yeah, they don't deserve to go 7 here. I mean, it was a mirage for them to go 7.
I mean, hey, we at least had 2 very exciting live reaction shows when we saw it when they got 2 big wins in OT. So we could pull that one out of it at least. There's that silver lining. And the Bruins are eliminated. But,
long time ago.
I know. It feels like a year ago that we were celebrating that, wasn't it? Jesus. All right, well, it's officially over. The Flyers are eliminated. We will not add another cup to the mantle, although we didn't think we were going to this year. And the Islanders are moving on for the first time to the Eastern Conference Finals since 1993. It wasn't even called the Eastern Conference Finals at that time. It was called the Wales Conference Final at the time. But, yeah, and they'll meet the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I actually think it's the second time those 2 teams have met in the playoffs. Ironically, the last time Tampa and the Islanders met, the Tampa Bay Lightning went on their run to win the Stanley Cup. So there you go. But anyway.
See, I disagree with Kyle, who said that he didn't think that we could beat the Lightning. I actually liked the matchup against the Lightning. I think we would have had an opportunity to win that series if we could get there. Although, in fairness, with the effort that we saw basically in the first and second round, maybe not. But matchup-wise, I actually liked the matchup a lot better than I liked this coming into this series with this matchup.
I mean, there's still a lot to be proud of as a Flyers fan. Let's be real. You know, you get
not in these playoffs.
Sure, why not? You won your first playoff series in 10 years.
Yeah, but you won it barely, and you only won it because of heart. The team itself, the team
win
in
is
general,
a win is a win, Matt.
It's a win, but here's the thing, though. But here's the thing.
That's the big win for me, guys. Right there. Oscar Lindblom getting back on the ice.
Huge step in that. Great for him to see him actually play a game, play 2. But here's the thing, though, and I'm going to say this right now. The team itself did not play well during this postseason. When the round robin, they played great. When the actual playoffs began, the team got rattled in that first series against Montreal. Was never quite the same. We won that series because Hart did that back-to-back shutout, and we put the Canadiens in a hole, and we jumped on it in Game 6 after blowing Game 5.
Well, he's going to have a playoff, Matt, at some point of his career where he carries us throughout an entire playoff, right? Like big-time carries. Almost like what he was getting to right here in a way, right? I mean, like back and we won games. There's going to be that time in his career where he's going to put us on his back and take us to a finals just on him alone, just playing that great game in, game out. You know what I mean? Expect him, not you didn't say this, but to expect him to play lights out throughout entire postseason his first time in is unfair. But we can leave this year knowing that we did win a playoff series, and the guy that we all thought that was going to be our franchise goalie is our franchise goalie. And I think we learned that too. So if we want to look at positives on what we can come out of this with, we learned who our franchise goalie is. We learned that some of our captain-ish guys, right? And I'm just putting all the season A's together, right? You know, but that maybe it's time to look elsewhere with some of these veterans too. Forget anybody wearing anything on their sweater. Maybe it's time to start looking elsewhere and seeing what you can do and just continue to get younger, right? And now you're building around your younger players and Konechny, Provorov, right, et cetera, okay? And then you go that direction now because you have your goalie where you can get younger in spots and still be in good shape because you have that guy back there. So at the times like now, if you're ever going to pull the trigger and try to get younger.
And we may already have that in the organization. You saw flashes of that in Joel Farabee this year. He's going to get better in year 2. We never even saw Morgan Frost with the big club, and he's a sniper. He's a good goal scorer that we were asking for too. And there's a couple other names I'll rattle off there, but I want to move on to your guys' opinion on that.
Well, guys, there's another big name on this team who we know is a contributor, and we didn't get the chance to see what he could have contributed this year, and that's Nolan Patrick. Getting him back next year is a huge boost for this team. And again, just to kind of piggyback off, what Tom was saying up here, 2 rounds in the playoffs, whether it was the max effort that we expected or not, is great experience for these young guys. And in a weird way, maybe this brutal loss here will leave that bad taste and drive that hunger a little bit next year. And let's get these young guys. Let's see Frost with the big club next year. Let's see Joe Farabee take that next step next year. And Travis Konechny, hey, I didn't show up this year in the playoffs. You got to now think about it, stew over in the offseason, and come back with a little fire. All right?
Yeah, let it sting.
Let's let it roll.
Burn.
Yeah.
Let the game slow down.
Nothing stronger than a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Now,
and let the game slow down to you, boys, too, right? I mean, allow the playoff hockey to slow down to you because it's another animal. When we talk about regular season and playoff hockey, it's always a different animal. So you need to know how to attack that. That's part of just the mental side of it, is knowing how to attack what comes next at the level of play. Right? It's almost like you're jumping a level. Like you go from minor league hockey to the National Hockey League, and then your postseason hockey, which is a different type of hockey. So to be able to know what that sort of takes and see and win a playoff series too, I think it's only going to bode well for these kids.
Now
going on a positive.
And going forward too onto this as well, when it comes to the young talent maturing and getting used to the playoff environment, we have to also remember the Flyers didn't make the postseason last year. They missed. So that's another thing. The young guys did not know a lot of that. And for the veterans, this was a disappointing experience for them because they were disappointing in and of themselves. But the Islanders, they were here last year, and they beat the Penguins in a sweep. And they went to the next round and got swept by Carolina. That stung. That had to stick in the Islanders' craw, and they had to be thinking all offseason, that is fucking bullshit. Because we are a better team than that, and we're going to show everybody next year. And every time you find a team that you don't expect to make a run in every sport, they make a run. We weren't sure who it was going to be at first. We didn't know if it was going to be Vancouver or if it was going to be the Islanders. Now we know it's the Islanders, and they're making their run, and they're proving that, hey, this team has skill, this team has talent, this team's going to be a pain in the ass in the near future in the Metropolitan Division. We have the toughest division in hockey, and the Islanders are just another one of those teams that are going to be a tough one down the road to deal with.
I'm actually kind of siding with Tom on this because I think it is time to really shake up the leadership in the locker room, because something's going on in that locker room that nobody knows about. It has to, because to come out in how many games and not be that, to have zero jump, be flat most starts, to go 0 on the power play in the series, have maybe 4 power play goals throughout the entire playoffs?
Yeah, it's terrible.
There needs to be some kind of change. And, it's got to start with the vets.
Right before you came on, I said Game 7s are dictated by your vets and your C's and your A's, okay? They're dictated by them guys. Them guys got to show up. Your stars have to show up in these types of games, and they didn't again. And Claude Giroux on a milk carton again. Everybody out there can make whatever excuses people want to make. It's milk carton talk again, and I'm sick of it. I'm over it. I'm over.
There's no defending it now. There's no defending it.
I've defended this guy for years, and I still love him. But at this point, it's either I don't know. It might be time to move on, guys. And I know it's tough for me to say that because I think he's been, I think he has been a franchise figurehead for a long time, and he'll always be a great Flyer. But you can't have this happen. I'm with you, Tom. I think it might be time to look at new options here, guys.
Yeah, it may be.
Everywhere. Get younger everywhere.
And we have young talent that can take the C. We do have young talent that can take the C. So it's not exactly like beforehand when people were saying trade Giroux like 4 years ago. Be like, well, we don't have somebody to take the seat. Why would you take him and get rid of him now?
So who would
changed.
you look at? Who would you look at, Matty, if you're looking at a young guy on this roster who you think would be the ideal guy to step in?
Coots.
Okay. How about I go completely against hockey, right? How about I go completely against hockey, and how about I just put it on my goalie? Okay. Yeah. How about I just put it on my best player? I'll just go completely against hockey.
It's not unknown. It's happened before. Roberto Luongo in Vancouver was their team captain.
He's my best player. He's my best player. It's going to be hard pressed to find a better player that you know is going to be better for the next 10 plus years. Easy, if not longer. 14.
I don't disagree with that mentality. We'll have to see how he comes back next year. But I mean, I look at Nolan Patrick as a guy who could possibly be a captain material in the future as well.
Yeah, but I never wanted to take it off. And with the concerns, I need to. He's got to be on the ice for a while before he can get that. You know what I mean? No, Chrome.
I hear you. Exactly. I agree with you. I mean, to me, I actually think. I mean, even more so than Konechny or any of these other guys. I mean, he's a guy I would look at. Maybe. You think Provy has the possibility of the potential to be a C?
I think he would be one of the guys on my list. Coots is obviously on the list.
Mm-hmm.
My list
is short. My list is one damn guy. I ain't even trying with this crap.
Maybe
you could try Hayes. You could try Hayes. He is wearing the A right now, so you could see if he wants to take the C.
Hold on, why can't I give it to my goaltender now? Why is that against hockey rules if he's my best?
No, it's not against hockey rules.
Yes, it is. Yeah, the goalie cannot be your captain.
Why?
Well, they can't wear the C for.
They can't wear the C. I mean, if you want to fill, Lundqvist filled that role for the New York Rangers, but without the C on his chest. But yeah, it's a stupid rule.
Vancouver.
Can I give him 17 A's across the chest then? Like, can I outrank them? Like the military, I'm outranking them. I'll give you 45 A's. His whole jersey. You won't even know it's a Flyers jersey. There'll be so many A's written all across it.
But what I would say is like what you could do. You can have a C in that locker room, but you can have two captains. Then they're both in the locker room. You have both Hart being there. He's a symbolic captain. Even though he doesn't have the C, he still has just as much say. And the captain on the other side who is on the ice because he's out there with the skaters. You can have both of them operating in that same because they're both coming into the locker room and they're both stepping up as leaders and saying, hey, you know what? This is what we're doing wrong. This is what I was noticing while you guys were down at the other end and why it kept coming to me. And then, hey, you could give it to anybody that, we were talking about earlier and they could say, hey, yeah, so this is why that was happening down here at this end and this is how we fix that, basically. You can have two leaders in that locker room. It doesn't have to be the C.
No, and I think the Flyers have that in their locker room right now. They have a bunch of guys who are either wearing the A or not that are leaders in that locker room. But my biggest thing with Giroux is, and I heard this on my way to work this morning, and it's a great point. Giroux's a bit of a shy guy. He's not that outgoing, going to get in your face, hold you accountable type of captain.
And honestly, we saw that. We saw that on that show on the NHL Network. Beyond the Glass or whatever it was. We saw that. What kind? And you're absolutely right, Brian. He's not an outspoken guy. He's not. Yeah. He's not going to ream you out in front of everybody in the locker room and hold you accountable. He's not.
I want that though.
I know.
And that's kind of
he's not
a Pronger type of guy.
When we don't play well, I want him to come out and air the whole room out. Like, when we don't play well, I need a guy who's going to come air the whole room out. And people are going to get offended. People are going to get offended and be like, oh my God, he said a lot of things. But that's what I want. That's accountability.
Then Kevin Hayes is your man then, because he would
I agree. I think Kevin Hayes might be the ideal guy.
Robin, who's standing up with Kevin Hayes and saying, what'd you say to me? Right? With Giroux, the whole room stands up and says, what did you say to me? You know what I mean? Because he's a little guy. So unless you're scoring 45 and 50, right? Mm-hmm. At this point, everybody's going, what'd you say? Like you don't have the credibility and the legs to stand on if you're not playing to your level. So it's hard to be a captain if you're not being productive. It makes that role even tougher. If you're not being productive and you're not a true leader, right? That's going to air somebody out. it's really hard to be a captain.
Is it? Could you guys see Giroux giving his C up to somebody and taking a step back?
Nah, it'd have to be a traded scenario like Richie.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
the organization wouldn't want to do to a guy that gave so much and to take the C away from him. I mean, but then again,
that's
you saw
what I'm
that
saying.
out in LA.
I'm not saying the organization or the coaches take it away from him. I'm saying he steps up and says, listen, I'm not the same player. I'm not the guy that I was. I didn't show up this year. And he defers the C to somebody else. Put an A on him. Swap him and Hayes. Let him have the C and put the A on him.
I like the notion, and I think that could be a way that it would happen to keep Giroux, but no one respects the guy that falls on his sword. Even though it moralistically, I
don't give a shit.
And I'm not saying that I would be that guy.
I know.
That would be a move that I would want to do, thinking that I was being noble, that I was putting the team first, but people will take it as a weakness. It's just how the world works.
You guys want to get some of the comments? I know Russ Williams was saying Patrick Frost and Lindbaum is some of our young offensive blood we need, and Konechny. And we need more offense.
Yep.
We need more offensive blood. So obviously, Ryan said, give us one big reason why we should be excited as Flyers fans right now, and one big reason we should be concerned.
Who wants to kick this one off?
I'll kick it off.
Sure, go ahead.
I don't think there's much of a concern. I mean, obviously you got your concern with your vets, but I mean, something to be excited for is the future is so bright for this team that they have so much young talent that still hasn't come up yet. Guys like Morgan Frost.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Cam York is going to be a very good defenseman.
Agreed.
And
agreed.
A lot to be excited for too. So you're I mean, this is coming from a Ducks fan too, fam. This ain't coming from a Flyers fan. So just to let you know, I mean,
one of the guys that Cam York has been coached from is actually, ironically, you brought up that I'm a Ducks fan, is Scott Niedermayer, who is one of the top 10 best defensemen of all time.
Big fan of
him.
So that's something huge to look forward to. All the young talent that's getting ready to come up, that's in the pipeline.
This is a year too early. We were a year too early in our heads, not early the way we played. Early in our heads, like we were right where we should be, second round elimination type shit.
Yeah,
what I mean in terms of where we probably were at.
I just want to say this right now,
guys, so I don't have to go. I agree with Brian. I got to piss. I'll be back. So when you guys are done, we'll get the more. When you guys are done answering this one, we'll get the more comments and let people air out their shit with us.
So
everything comes out. Right?
I just want to say this now because we got
no plug because it ain't that fresh. You know what I'm talking about? Like fresh. The Papa John's night wasn't fresh, and it ain't gonna come out fresh whenever that time comes.
That's great. But I will say this right now because I saw it in the comments tab. There's an Islanders fan flexing his Maya souls and everything like that. I'm just gonna say this right now, bud. You had 2 chances to beat us, and you failed both times. It took you this game to do it. So just saying. Listen, I'm not. Good luck with Tampa. Good luck with Tampa. Have fun with that.
I'm not gonna check Islanders fans because the reality is, yes, you're absolutely right. If I'm an Islanders fan, I'd be a little bit concerned with the fact that they dominated this series and they still got taken at 7 games. But that being said, they won this series. They are the team that came out with max effort tonight. And I'm not one to tell them not to puff their chests out at this point, Matt.
And they didn't play dirty. You know, you got it. I mean, I hate everyone that doesn't wear an orange sweater. So it's a lot coming from me that I have respect. And both opponents, both Montreal and Islanders, played the game the right way. And that's all you ask for.
I can tell you right now, now since we're out and objectively watching, now that we're out and just kind of objectively watching, I could see myself wanting to see this team make a big run. You guys know on Hockey Happy Hour, right? I was on your show and I talked about how disgusted I was the way that Tavares left the Islanders and how it wouldn't kill me to see this team do well and stick it up his ass. So I would love to see and I'm not a Lightning guy whatsoever, so I'm going to pull for the Isles to get through this next series. And I would love to see a Stanley Cup final with Vegas and the Islanders. And let's see how that plays out. Let's see if they could put that kind of pressure that we saw this series on that Vegas Knights team. I would be real intrigued by that matchup.
I honestly love the Western Conference Final matchup. I think it's going to be great. I should have stuck with our midseason playoff predictions there, boys, and stuck with the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, what's his name? Yoel Kivaratin or something to that effect. That
had a hat trick in Game 7 yesterday.
Yeah,
what a
including
phenomenal
the game
series that was.
Right. You know, the last time that was done was by the Great One. A hat trick in a Game 7, including the game winner in overtime.
Sounds about right.
So with this being said, guys, why don't we do this? Who do you think wins the series?
Daniel, respect to you too,
yeah,
brother.
Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Now,
do we want to continue answering Ryan around every? I don't think everyone got a chance to see.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, before we preview the next series and give our predictions for Tampa Isles.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brian bringing up the young guys is a big deal. You know, for me too. Again, obviously, I'm a big Nolan Patrick guy. I think that's another reason to be excited going into next year, for the simple fact that he can be such a factor on this team if he's 100% healthy. I mean, to me, that's like making a big star free agent signing. I think this kid's going to be something special. So that excites me to see this team with the progression that we saw this year. Adding another weapon like that to this offense onto the ice, I think, is really exciting. Reasons to be concerned, again, you know, I don't know. Maybe we kind of touched on it, but just the veterans. You know, what's going to happen out there in the offseason in terms of movement? I don't know. I think somebody's going to go, and I think that we're going to have to open up some more roster spots for some of these young guys, but I don't see any reason going forward to be overly concerned as a Flyers fan right now.
I mean,
actually, I did think of something, and I hope I don't steal anybody's thunder here real quick. Defensive support on Carter Hart. That would be my
You know, I would
concern.
agree, Brian, but I think that it struggled in this series, but I thought that they did pretty decent at times. And I thought that they looked pretty decent, you know, against Montreal in terms of that. You saw guys diving for pucks. In this series, I think the Islanders got in their heads. I think they were just, the effort, it was sloppy. We'll just say that. I don't think, I'm not overly concerned with that because I think we've seen a lot of the support for Carter Hart in the playoffs and during the regular season. I thought Provy having a big year this year was really huge for them. I think he kind of stepped up as maybe the leader of that defense. So I hear what you're saying because it looked ugly this series, but I didn't think that was a major issue for them overall this year, that I would be concerned going into the next year that could be, maybe there'll be a lingering effect of that. I don't know, but
that's what I'm concerned about, is that it could be a lingering effect. So we'll see what happens.
I see Vigneault as the type of guy, though. I think he'll get right up into their asses and he will light that fire under them.
Which he absolutely should. I hope he reamed them out in the locker room tonight.
Oh, I do too. I hope he told them all to take your fucking jerseys off right now. You don't deserve to be wearing them right now.
So I'll pick up. So with positives, obviously the youth getting experience. Carter Hart absolutely looked like he was capable of taking this team and really hunkering down and playing very well in a playoff situation. Single-handedly won us 2 games that we honestly didn't deserve. And then he won us a series against the Canadiens. And then after that, that's the best thing on that one. The youth getting the experience, Carter Hart coming in and showing that he can play playoff hockey, and he hadn't played playoff hockey before. As for concerns, the only thing that I would say is I think just better puck management. Understanding, hey, don't just make blind passes, outwork your guys on the boards. Those little tiny things. You got to get to those dirty areas and outwork your opponent. And really, you got to be strong on the puck. You can't get outworked. And that's what happened. The Islanders outworked us this entire series. And for anyone out there wondering, the better team was the Islanders in this series. No doubt about it. If anyone's going to question that, they're wrong. The Islanders were the better team. And that's because they outworked us. got to be stronger on the puck, got to be stronger in the dirty areas, can't turn the puck over in your zone, and can't crack under the pressure. And when you get a lead, you hold the lead. Don't panic when you get scored on, because how many times they have multiple goal leads? After the first goal, it's gone in a matter of minutes. That happened a lot in this series. So yes, 110%. Islanders, at the end of the day, better team in this series, outworked us. Got to be strong in these playoffs, but hey, for the youth, it's experience. For the vets, might need to take a little bit of look and need to say, yo, what the hell did I do wrong? Because you did a lot wrong. For the youth, take the experience, take the lessons, take it on the chin, and you move on.
What's interesting, Maddie, is you didn't see that happening earlier on, in this return to play during the regular season, that they weren't getting that defeatist mentality when they let up a goal with the lead. They came back and maintained that lead and rammed it down the throats. You saw this recently against the Boston Bruins, and then they went back to that default. And I 100% agree with you on that. That can't happen, man. Yeah, you know what I mean? You have to have confidence in your team. And hopefully they gain a little bit through this process.
Derek, what do you mean, brother? As far as what plans for what?
So I don't.
For the next season starts.
He's asking if they know when the season. Are they going to delay the start of the season? I think is basically what he's asking.
Oh, yeah, last I heard it was they were going to start it in January, either right around the time that the Winter Classic, maybe even with the Winter Classic. Is that still the plan, Brian?
As far as I heard anywhere from December to that point, yeah.
Yeah.
So, December, January.
I do have a negative that I would be concerned about, but I wanted to give Pove a chance to go because I don't think we really got Poves yet. So go ahead.
All right, cool, man. I think the greatest thing, and you could highlight the youth, but you guys have mentioned that this is still the youth, but it's more than that. This franchise has been desperate for a franchise goaltender, and you have him in Carter Hart. And that's something to be really excited about, something that this team hasn't had probably since the first stint of Hextall. That goes back a ways, even some of you guys out there might not have been born yet when they had a franchise goaltender. So that's something to be really excited about.
Honestly, with our demographic, probably a lot of our viewers haven't been around weren't around for that.
Right. We got to develop a little 50 seconds for the 50 plus.
Hey, listen, I got to see it, so I'm good.
Right. The concern is something off the ice, and that's salary cap. Always an issue with this team. And initially, before the pandemic happened, the salary cap was supposed to bump up another $5 or $6 million. So coupled with restructuring, maybe you get some guys pegged off in the expansion draft. Maybe you do make a trade to shed some salary cap that could free room to bring in, another piece to take this team to the next level. You're still not going to be able to do that because based on the pandemic and not getting revenue from fans coming in, it's blocked back in at the current, I forget the exact, I think it's 80, I want to say 82.5 million, but I could be off on that. But anyway, because it's not getting bumped up like it was supposed to, it's going to continue to handcuff this team one more year. But luckily, we do have some pieces that we can bring up that are currently are in the organization.
Sure.
Yep. And I think the one thing they need to do this offseason, and I know we have one. I know we have one in Morgan Frost, but you need an elite sniper.
Yeah.
That's something this team's been missing for a very long time.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Tarasenko hitting the free agent market?
Tarasenko's hitting the free agent market. From what I understand, Patrick Laine is now on the trade block. And somebody else is on the trade block, too. I just heard it's a big name, but I'm blanking on who it was. But, this team needs a sniper. It needs a legit elite sniper, 40, 50 goal guy.
I will. I'll give my other thing that I would be a little bit concerned about, and this would be a concern from where, and we talked about this, Pove, where I felt like they progressed so much from last year and then regressed in these playoffs, and that's trying to get too cute with the extra passes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that became a major issue in these playoffs. I think that was exposed in this series and taken advantage of. to where they started pressing. And again, way too cute, way too much dancing with the puck, inability to control the puck. I would be concerned that would carry over to next year. I hope not. I hope that it was just a result of the amazing pressure that we saw by the Islanders on this team to force them into making mistakes, having to look for extra plays. But I would be concerned that that becomes a thing next year. So hopefully, we continue to see that progression we saw from last year to this year, to where they're finding the right opportunities for those passes, and when not, they're getting the puck at the net and looking for second chance opportunities.
Yeah, that's something that's been an issue for the last couple of years. Is something because Coots to me is the biggest offender of this.
I 100% agree.
A prime grade A opportunity to take a shot, and he'll give I love the selfless play.
Saw it a lot with G too.
But at the same point, come on, dude, you got a prime grade A opportunity, and you're gonna pass it over, shoot it. Come on, bro, take the shot. If they're gonna give it to you, take the shot.
I agree with you guys about your biggest concern. It's like, because if you put a lot of faith in a young kid to come in and be that sniper early on, it's not fair to the kid either. So I think there definitely has to be addressed. Like a guy who can walk on the ice and score 40 is a big time need for this hockey team moving forward. And if that's a young kid who can come in and do it right away, then so be it. If not, you have to go out and address it. If you want to win next year, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're hypothetically willing to wait to, then you don't do anything.
I want to respond to that comment we just had up here by Mads. Was it Mads 15-16? Biggest difference was the Islanders had 4 strong lines. I would agree, which is ironic because I felt like if you coming into this series and we heard a lot of analysts talk about it, one of the strengths for the Flyers was the fourth line. And I know, Pove, you talked about that a lot too, was that the fourth line was expected to be a huge advantage for this team. And in the end, it ended up being what worked against us was the inability to create any traction on any of the lines, essentially, in this series. The fourth line for a while made a difference for us in a few games in this series. But overall, it was the Islanders, no matter who stepped on the ice, whether it was the first, second, third, or fourth line, you almost couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah,
you couldn't tell the difference what number line it was.
They were effective. They were rolling four lines. All were productive in their own way, whether it be playing physical or causing turnovers. Just even something as simple as just
controlling the neutral zone.
Bingo.
Controlling the neutral zone, man.
Bingo.
The Flyers got crushed in the neutral zone in this series.
They did, and that was something that the Islanders did well. And I think we can safely say this. And Rob, I know you can attest this, and almost everybody can. What was a team that used to smother you defensively and make it seem impossible for you to score? It was the New Jersey Devils. And how many times did they win the Stanley Cup doing that? They won it 3 times doing it. So
I got a refill, boys.
They had skill. And they had skill the other 2 times they won the Cup. The first time they were very strong defensively, and it was almost impossible to score on them. But the point being is that this was a team that can smother down a very solid offense, and the Flyers had a very good offense. The problem was it didn't matter because the Islanders caused so much friction. And Andrew L., thank you very much. Hey, man. The Islanders, they were the better team, man. They really were. My hat's off to them in that regard. They were very much the better team. Chris versus Shark. As an Isles fan, I have a lot of respect for you guys. Going down 3-1 could have been deflating, but they fought hard to get it to 7. Good job. Handshakes all around. A handshake to you, Chris. Hey, the Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning, it's going to be a tough series. Tampa, if they even just slightly think that the Islanders are going to come into this series tired and they're not going to try and do the same thing to them, they are greatly mistaken. However, we'll see what Tampa does to respond. It's going to be a lot tougher of a battle going into that Eastern Conference final. It's going to be an exciting series.
Can I say something about, you were talking about the Devils back in the past, Matt?
Yeah.
And I get it. The Islanders had a suffocating defense, but I need guys who can skate around guys. You know what I mean? I need guys who can skate around guys and make plays. So at the end of the day, what was exposed throughout this series was the lack of that. So that again was exposed, and we can talk about. We know there's young guys that just aren't there yet, right? But overall, it was exposed that you don't have that ability. You don't have them type of playmakers right now on this roster. That doesn't mean some young kids can't turn into that. But like right this second, you see that we don't have that yet, especially out of our first line. You know what I mean? There's nobody who's like skating around guys and making plays. Like you watch all around the National Hockey League, right? So how do you beat a good defense? Skate the hell around one.
Yeah,
total exposed talk.
Yeah, and the Islanders have big-bodied defensemen that don't really skate all that well. I mean, good enough, but if you had that speed, you had that guy who can get around, the defense. That's a difference maker.
Yeah. And another commonality with the Islanders and the Devils, who's the GM of the New York Islanders right now. Yeah.
Lou Lamoriello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And Lisa, you can check out Kicking It Stateside because I do believe they cover Barclays Premier League, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah, I think they do everything soccer.
We got everything in A2D, fam. Everything you want.
German Bundesliga.
Bundesliga. Germany has a great way of pronouncing things. Have you ever noticed that? Bundesliga? It just sounds like it sounds like it'll kill you. Or
it's a good beer. Or just like stiff beer.
So listen, Tim Sullivan said this is going to get fun in the chat on Facebook. Tim Sullivan says Elaine refuses to game change in game. He literally will lean against the glass, chew gum, and watch. And Sean Spielman, he's firing right back at him. Says first year coach took him to game 7, clueless. So that's going to get fun in there. Whose side do you take, fam? Tim's or Sean's?
That's all you saw was in-game adjustments. More to play those mental mind games with Trotz or the previous series. Who was the guy that took over when their head coach went down from the heart attack?
Kirk Muller.
Kirk Muller. Yeah,
he
was playing mind games continuously with him, with changing putting out a line set and then changing one guy off the line. Playing those games, constantly making in-game adjustments. Now, they weren't all correct. Actually, I disagree with quite a few of them. And the man needs to have the challenge flag ripped from his hand. He really does.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'll agree with is, he was terrible at challenges, and it cost the Flyers quite a few. But to say he doesn't make any in-game changes, I don't know. I've seen him make a lot of adjustments, especially I've seen him do some on the fly. There have been moments in games where they've come out flat, and then the next 40 minutes they're pretty much dominant and unstoppable. So I disagree.
Listen.
Wait, I'm going to disagree with that in-game changes. Let me get this out real quick.
Hold on. Will you come in? When you talk about in-game changes, like fine, like you can make as many in-game changes you want. When you ain't quick enough and you can't get around people and you don't win stuff against the boards and you can't win battles behind the net and you can't get to the front of the net for opportunities, right? You're in for a long haul. When you're getting 16 shots in 3 periods in a win-or-go-home situation, you can talk about adjustments and everything else under the goddamn sun. That means my players ain't good enough, okay? That's what that means. So that's all that means right now. I'm not saying they won't be good enough down the road. That means as a whole, my players aren't good enough right now. My team, as constructed, I should say, isn't good enough right now.
You need players to execute.
Yep.
In-game changes. No, forget the in-game changes thing, because if we're basing it off of this series, first of all, they could have made changes, but the Islanders checked those changes. But if you look at this team overall this year, how good were they in the third period the entire season? To sit back and say this team didn't make in-game changes, this head coach and the rest of that coaching staff didn't make in-game changes, is clueless. It's completely oblivious, and this is probably someone who hasn't sat and watched a Flyers game all year until the playoffs. Get the hell out of here with that bullshit.
Listen, I understand. Listen, the first thing people want to blame when it comes to sports in general is the coach, and fair. But a team that is right where they should be, shouldn't be really any further than this. Shouldn't have got eliminated before this. a second-round exit type of team, right, with some young kids that still need to grow, okay, and the vets that just aren't good. Like, a lot of vets that just aren't stars, right? So your vets aren't stars per se, okay? So then you're in almost a transition in a way, right? You're still in a transition in a way. So to be the one thing you're going to go to a Stanley Cup is oblivious. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just such homer talk to even believe that this year. Even to believe it with the number one seed, whatever, it's really you're not thinking with your head anymore. You know what I mean? You're almost thinking with you know what. You know what I mean? You're thinking with your buddy downstairs. That's what you're thinking with. So at the end of the day, this is right where you should be. So to blame that on a coach in any way, shape, or form to me is unfair criticism. Okay, I'm not saying he did
completely unfair
in Game 7. I'm not saying he adjusted in Game 7 or not. I don't know if he in Game adjusted. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he wrote on his little freaking chalkboard. I don't know. But what I know is what my eyes tell me. And what my eyes tell me is these players tonight came with zero between their damn legs. And if anybody else thinks they did, please try to debate us on it. Because that's what it all comes down to. They didn't come to play.
There's no debate.
Now I will say this too, and I remember when we went back and we looked at the situation and we saw the way that the brackets were shaking out, I had said before I didn't want to face the Islanders because I knew that they were a scary team. And I knew they had this ability. They were that good of a team, and we struggled against them all year. This wasn't anything new. If this was new to anybody, then I don't know how you didn't watch the season, because we beat a lot of really great teams we shouldn't have beaten, but we couldn't beat the Islanders. We beat the Capitals, we beat the Penguins, we beat all them. We couldn't beat the Islanders. They were the one team that was like a big black mark sitting there on the whole record. Was the one team that was like our Achilles heel. They always seemed to have our number. And that just played out at the end of the year. They had our number. We couldn't beat them at the end of the day.
They did
Spencer Davis, real quick. Spencer Davis says, nobody said cup, but we came all the way back. Fuck. And listen, nobody likes to lose. You know, we're not happy here. We're not making excuses because this is where they were supposed to be. I still want to win. You know what I mean? I still want to beat you. But when it's over with and there's nothing I can do about it, then when we sit back and look at it, we have to be realists on where this hockey team really is. So now we have to address what we need to do to be able to get further than where we're at right now. That's all.
Get back to where we are and get further and have a better showing next time. And again, for somebody to sit back and say that this head coach doesn't make in-game adjustments is completely asinine. That's someone who only watches the Flyers when they're in the playoffs and then wants to come in with a hot take. Take your hot take and shove it up your ass with that. That's bullshit. I'm not gonna. No.
Elaine Vigneault ain't a Hall of Fame head coach to me. So I mean, he can be criticized. He's allowed to be criticized.
Right, but that's not the right criticism, Tom. That's not the right criticism, because this team made adjustments all year. It was one of the best third period teams in the entire league. So to sit back and say that this head coach doesn't know how to make in-game adjustments, it's unfair and it's completely ridiculous. And I'm not going to sit here and sit back and let somebody have a playoff hot take who probably has watched 2 games all season, if that.
No, I mean, fair. Ninja says he's hurting right now. We're right with you, brother. We're right with you. And he's like, something we've all talked about, through an hour 23 so far, is he says, if I'm being honest, the Islanders just wanted it more. And he's right.
They were the better team right now. That's the bottom line.
I don't even know if they're the better team. They just
right now they're the better team right now.
I don't even know that for sure. I just know they wanted this more. All I can tell you is they wanted Game 7 more. That's all I can tell anybody.
I can't disagree with you on that.
Sean says Flyers struggled against the Islanders and they had big leads and let it up. Yep. And this series was never comfortable. We talked about it when we came on. Even when you had 2-goal leads, it wasn't comfortable. We've done live reactions for a few now that no matter where the game was in our favor, it wasn't comfortable at all.
No.
Not at all. Daniel Bakley says it comes from the top, and G once again didn't show up. And I'll be Uncle Criticism, because there's been people out there that get mad at me like, oh my God, Tom, you're not a Flyers fan because you're critical of G. No, I'm a realist. Okay, I think he's a damn good hockey player, just not a star. Okay, just not a star. Is it okay? He's not a Hall of Famer? All right, so I'm allowed to be like, hey, he's a great Flyer, and not all time great Flyers are all time stars, right? He's a well-rounded hockey player. He's never going to be he was never going to be a 50-goal scorer. It's just not his makeup. So you take him for what he is. I never took him to be more than he was. I took him as an exciting player to watch, a ton of freaking skills. And if you put him on the right lines with guys, he can make guys better because I think he does have a skill set to make guys better, right? But he's never been around guys like that. And that's not his fault that he's never won a cup. But what isn't his fault that he's wearing the C? It's not his fault that the organization gave him a C. None of that's his fault. But I'm just telling you as a realist for a Flyers fan, and he's never been a star. So anytime I've been critical, it's like, oh, Tom, you're not a Flyer fan. Oh, yes, I am. I'm just telling you what my eyes tell me because I watch other guys that are stars and I watch how they play. And then I watch him, and sometimes I can be like, is he playing tonight? Right? If I got to think if you're playing tonight in my head and I forget, like, is he playing? Or did he get banged up? Let me check. Right? When there's other guys around the league, the stars, boys, the stars, you don't got to go check that out because their name's being mentioned 100 times. That's the only difference, and that's not a shot. That's just fair. He's never going to be a top 10 guy in hockey. He just wasn't. Can he be a top 25 guy in his primes? Sure, absolutely. Absolutely was. But now at this point of his career, he's not that player anymore. Like Robbie was talking about the other night. He's not that player anymore. And expect him to even be that player, which wasn't the player we're expecting him to be right now. Like the player he was in his prime wasn't even a Hall of Fame caliber player. It was just a damn good hockey player.
I agree. I agree. You got to start at the top. You got to start. Pointing fingers at your captain first. But there are so many other guys on this roster right now that need to have their, a finger in their face as well. TK. 1 point in the entire playoffs.
Didn't show up. And he was our top goal scorer. He was our top goal scorer in this regular season.
That was our all-star.
Kevin Hayes,
all-star representative.
Yeah, Kevin Hayes was decent. He wound up with 13. But Couturier didn't play well. He didn't show up either. Who else didn't show up?
Yeah, but he's not that player, right? He's not that player he's never going to be the player that's going to show up in that kind of sense, right? Like he's never going to show up because he's more of just a guy who's going to two-way and play well defensively. And so to your point, yes, you're right. You're right, Bri. But it's just he's not a star player. So he's just just a tough defensive guy who can do a lot of things well. But
how he could show up is taking somebody out in the slot instead of allowing them to shoot and score. That's how you show up on that two-way, and you come back and you back check well, and you muscle in some goals on the opposite side. You saw that, early on in his career, specifically against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, you're right.
I think one of the issues that the Flyers have right now, and this is why you saw guys like G and Coots, they really have many points, and just go with me on this. You have three playmakers on one line. And I'm including Voracek in this, who's had a good first round, but that was it. You got three playmakers on one line, three guys who are very selfless with the puck. You need to put these guys with guys who are going to shoot, guys who are going to help create offense, not look for the perfect play, pass first when you have an open shot, stuff like that.
And the thing too is that one thing that we forget is that Sean's putting up a good point here. He said G's not a sniper, and that's true. He's not. Can he shoot? Yes, he can. Should he shoot more often than he passes? Yes, but he is more of a setup guy. And we look at that. One of his best years was when he was working with Yager, and it was past his prime. And yet he had one of the best years of his career.
How many 30-goal seasons has he had in his career? Like, I get the point. Like, he's had quite a few 30-goal seasons.
Yeah, but
he has. But he's a setup. But he is by nature a setup guy.
I'm not disagreeing.
Hold on. Man, I mean, 30-goal seasons. It's 82 games. 30 goals. I'm not saying this isn't a shot at you, Brian. It's just a shot at like 30 goals. Like 30 goals to me is meh. Like it's not. Then they see where this is another shot at this organization. I'm sorry. My biggest issue have come with this organization on bad decision making, right? And rushing things, like rushing the decisions or being too loyal, right, Rob? We've had Maddie, and Brian, you as well. We've had this conversation since we've been talking hockey since we all started this shit a long ass time ago, right? So we've been talking hockey for a long time, and it's been about this organization. That was a mistake to even give it to a guy who wasn't going to be a star if he didn't have huge leadership capabilities, right? So then you're stuck with it and you roll with it. But again, 30-goal seasons are nothing. They're really. I'm not saying they're nothing. I don't want to diminish it, but they're nothing to be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like yeah. If you're having 40 plus, that extra 10's big to me, because then you're right. I mean, he can shoot it. He's not just how about this? He's a sniper in a way, but he's not going to. I don't know, because he can sometimes. He can.
Let me help you out. He's a sniper on the power play from that right crease where he comes in on the one-timer. That's the situation where he's a sniper. Otherwise, he's setting up. He's had one season where he had 34 goals. Everything else has been 28, 26, 22, right? And I'm looking at the live stream. I'm not looking at a stat sheet. No notes, people. That and that shows that he was always meant to be paired with that elite player. And for a while it was Jake, you know what I mean? And he's got longer in the tooth, but yet they've stuck to that plan and they've never provided him with that guy. Like I'm saying, like imagine him with like Landeskog, who also missed Game 7 to an injury, by the way, for the Avalanche.
Landy's he's the same style of player that Drew is. He's another guy. He'll give you 20 to 30 goals a year, but he's a playmaker. He's not a sniper.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter.
No, it's fine.
I meant to say McKinnon, not
any sniper you would have put him with throughout his career. It's almost like McNabb never getting the wide receiver and then finally getting it with T.O. It's like, you know what I mean? It's that kind of connection that you need, and you turn it into other sports, right? It's that point guard that never getting the other player next to him in basketball, right? I mean, it's a comparison. So it's a playmaker who just never got that big-time goal scorer next to him throughout his career, and that's a slight at this organization again, right? I mean, he never had it. So yes, he could have had even better numbers, maybe scored 35 goals a year because he's getting less attention on him than what he's gotten throughout his career. I mean, Jake Voracek, always a good player, but again, not a star that's going to light you up for 45 usually. You know what I mean? This is not even when we got him, he was fast. He can make some plays, but again, he just never had that other guy who's a bona fide all-star next to him, and it's a shame because by the time he's done, them kids are going to be ready to go. Hopefully they can be ready to go sooner than later for his sake.
It could have been TK. For a while he was on the line with him with Jay, when he was centering.
But why not anymore, though?
Exactly my point too. Like you guys are validating my point. Like these guys are all on a line together, and they're all pass first guys. So you're not going to really be able to create that offense as much because you don't have that bona fide elite sniper to have on the wing or in center sitting in the slot, And to Chrome's point from probably almost an hour ago now is, you have a guy like Nolan Patrick. I think we're looking at a little bit of more of a different series here, and maybe more production from the guys that we're claiming that weren't productive.
It's being a Flyers fan or a Philly sports fan, you know what I mean? Like one of the things that you would really need wouldn't be able to be there all year for you.
Yeah,
and something you're really excited about, right?
Yeah, but and
Nash of the NHL, it makes sense. Yeah, no, you're right. That's the best. Yeah. That's the best way of comparing them. A guy who just dribbles around a lot, just waiting for somebody to want the ball. It's like the same thing. He'll go around a lot, waiting for somebody to want the ball. Yep, same shit.
Yeah, no, I actually like that comparison.
And the biggest, and also too, and it was another thing brought up by Ninja is cool. Giroux was playing for a period of time when the Flyers were very mediocre, rebuilding the team, and so he was not. Yeah, he was never on a line with guys who could keep up with him for a long time. I mean, I love Raffl, and Raffl was one of the better players we had this postseason run, but There have been times where he was getting outplayed by Giroux, and there were times where he wasn't fitting in that line, and they had to change it again. That
more like, I mean, if you want to win, isn't Michael Raffle more of a third line guy? Like if you want to win, like if you really have cup expectations, is he not more of a third line guy? If you really want to be. Yeah,
he's a third line guy, but he's a guy that you could shift in game to that first line because he brings that power forward element to his game that could be a nice injection if you are struggling on the offense. So he's versatile. He can play center, he can play wing. But yes, that if your team is filled in your top six, he belongs in the bottom six for sure.
Like his legs could be feeling good one night and he's skating well and you jack him up to the first line to give a little injection. Yeah, no, I got it. That makes sense. I mean, I'm more like I felt like I was telling people, but I more was asking but telling at the same time. Because I just think, not we just put too much expectations on guys that aren't there. So the expectations should be on guys of connecting to the world to continue to develop. Provy continue to develop, obviously, defensively, but and then the list goes on. Like Morgan Frost, like who is he? Is he up next year, ready to go? Can Nolan Patrick be healthy? Right. So we want to start putting the expectations on the guys that are coming in already with the guys that are already on this roster, and then what's coming after.
Yeah. And, Ryan Turan even said, should Coots have played with a sprayed MCL, would have loved to seen Lawton with G tonight again. And Lawton played real well in the last game when he was on that line. He was another guy who really was like Raffle. He could come in at those moments and really bring some of that, adrenaline to that line. But again, it's a perfect example of you don't have that solid top line with besides, having Voracek and Giroux, but you don't have that goal scorer. Like we were all talking about, you need that goal scorer to work with that guy who's an elite goal scorer. And you need that player. And for example, and it's tough because, we've been waiting for a top line like that since the Legion of Doom. When you think about it, you had Lindros, you had Renberg, and you had Leclerc. And it's like you almost can guarantee at some point either Leclerc was going to get 2 goals, Renberg was going to get 2 goals. Lindros might set him up for 1. Maybe he'll get a goal. You could almost guarantee it when those 2 guys are playing. The only time that those guys could get shut out is if you had Brodeur at the other side or you had Hasek at the other side. Those were the only goaltenders who truly could shut them down. That's it. Everybody else was in trouble.
I love Scotty Lawton in this series.
Well, he skated well tonight, Brian. I know you didn't get a chance to watch it as much, but I thought Scotty skated well tonight. Compared to a lot of guys who didn't skate well tonight, I thought he skated well. So to Ryan's point, I mean, I always want if Coots can play. You know what I'm saying? I love the toughness, the play. But I agree with you because every time I seen Lawton on the ice, it looked like he was skating well when nobody else was. So it was easy to see.
Another guy who I thought skated really well in that first period too was Aubé Kubel, who just totally felt like he fell off a cliff after the first period. You didn't hear his name, but he was all over the ice. He came out in the first period. When I look at one player that to me that really came out, at least in that first period, and played whistle to whistle with a little bit of fire, a little bit of pep, and chasing pucks up against the boards into the zone, making plays to get the puck out and get it into their own zone, played well in the neutral zone. It was Aubé Kubel. And again, though, the cliff fell out after the first period, and you barely heard his name. And I think that was kind of an indicator of the whole team at that point.
Yeah, I mean, to jump back to Scotty Lawton here, I thought, I think we're finally getting the Scotty Lawton that we expected him to be when he first got drafted. And, unfortunately, he had injury issues early on in his career, missed a lot of time. But, now he's starting to stay healthy. And Night Spellman. And,
Night, brother.
He's
later, brother.
Playing with a little bit. He's got that edge. You know what I mean? He's playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He showed that he's got some scoring capabilities. In this series specifically, he seemed to be the only guy willing to get along the boards, get into the dirty areas, corners, battle for pucks. And he's got rewarded a few times, but he seemed like the only one that really consistently went out there and played with that little bit of grit. Like you even saw, he got in a fight tonight because you saw the frustration building. He fought JG Pajot, lost, but he tried to spark his team. Like that's something I've seen him do a lot this year, especially in this playoff series. And my hat's off to Scotty Lawton. He's becoming one of my favorite Flyers to watch.
Well, he's allowed to succeed now because he's getting time on the top six to be able to demonstrate those skills. And yes, to that commenter's point, I would have kept Lawton in that top six and even on that, especially on that top line with G. And I would have certainly, you definitely want Coots to play. If he can go, he could go. Slide him in on the third line with JBR, where maybe he doesn't put as much minutes on that knee, but can contribute. That is the type of example where there were some missteps by AV, and you got to hold him accountable for that.
Agreed.
And I will say with Tim Barnhart, he's saying Pitlick was playing tough too, and that's one of the players that I really absolutely. And to think we flipped him for Hartman in the offseason. And boy, has he paid us dividends in that fourth line, man.
Yeah, what a joke! What a joke that pickup was, right? Like I was told by somebody that used to work here. Oh yeah, that's a great signing, Tyler Pitlick. Yeah, it was, and you heard his name every game.
Hey, listen,
long.
I'm the first one to admit I wanted to keep Ryan Hartman. I like the style of play that he had. I thought he fit in to be a Flyer. But you know what? I have no complaints about what Tyler Pitlick did this year. None whatsoever. He's another effort, energy guy that came out and he brought it every night, every shift. He gave you everything.
I'm almost surprised that what the Sports Center, you gotta love them.
ESPN, you're drunk. Go home.
Oh, you gotta love these guys. But yeah, I'm gonna say this right now. What's wrong with this picture, people? Feel free to point that out here in the chat.
It took me a while. I'm a little slow.
Yeah.
I was like, are they saying that the Stanley Cup gets awarded in the conference finals? No, they're just saying, oh, yeah, that's not the right logo.
I appreciate it, Red Base.
Thanks, Red Base. But I'm going to say this. But I'm going to say this right now, man. It's just a perfect example of the fact that ESPN doesn't know hockey. They'll never know hockey, and it's just a perfect example that they still don't know hockey. But anyway,
I love when it's this time of year and the syndicates or the media outlets that never talk hockey have to talk hockey and do such a poor job at doing it. It's so humorous. Like the other day, I turned on my TV and I still had NBC Sports Philadelphia on, and it was during the day, so the Mikey Miz show was on. It pops on with Mikey Miz wearing this big Flyers hat with a straight brim and a boxed out look, like he just pulled it out of a freaking box to wear for the show. And they had what's the guy's name? Kobe from the pregame for the Flyers.
Oh, Colby Cohen.
They had Colby Cohen, and honestly, listening to Mikey Miz trying to talk hockey to him was like, I'd rather have my fingernails pulled off by a torturer. It was just absolutely horrible. And it's broadcasters like that try to front when they front. And I got a solution: talk hockey all year, and you'll know what you're talking about. And number two, I got chastised a little bit by a video that I posted way back about these Flyers fans that we had in the chat that haven't watched a game all season and then come in and want to comment and rip apart the team based on what they've seen in the playoffs, right? And I'm glad that happened tonight because I always want to welcome people in, man. It's all about positive vibes for it. So if you couldn't watch then or you couldn't watch now, or there's only so much time, you can't be hip on everything in the sporting world, but you want to support the cause, right? Not rip apart, and also jump on a little sooner than, in this case, August, but normally in, April, May, June area.
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you on that. And again, I mean, I don't expect people to be able to sit back and watch all year. And I've always said, hey, I welcome everybody to come on and jump on whenever the time is right, but don't come in and then start running the head coach down as if you haven't a clue about anything, because to me, that's just a take that shows me somebody hasn't watched all year. Like you basically expose yourself, and you're absolutely right, boys. You touched on a couple points where AV made bad decisions or made questionable decisions. The Lawton thing is a huge thing. I agree with you guys, but I'm not going to stand here and let somebody run him down for something that he has done that coaches in the past have not done for this team. That has been a bright spot, is this team's ability to make adjustments. This head coach's ability to make adjustments. So we could blame a lot of things, but we're not going to run the coach down. Not on my watch. You could disagree. Sitting here.
Hell yeah, man. You could disagree with the call and be like, hey, I would have done it a little bit differently, right? Mm-hmm. But, this is still, a man that should be and is a finalist for the Jack Adams Award. He took a team that had missed the playoffs for 8 straight seasons and brought them to the playoffs. Did a phenomenal job. Very
brought
happy
them
with
to game 7 in the second round.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Rob, to jump on your point a couple minutes ago here, we were talking about, essentially talking bandwagon fans. One of the biggest culprits in this city, especially media-wise, is WIP. And I've officially stopped listening to WIP, probably way longer than I should have, because of their lack of hockey knowledge. And people will call in.
Fuck them.
Exactly. And people will call in, and they will come in with the Flyers question or something, and they won't know the answer. Yeah. I'm like, this is a joke. The playoffs are just getting ready to start. You have no information on anything related to the Flyers. You can't even have a simple discussion about it. Like, what are you guys doing over there?
I bet you if you ask them who the captain was, they say Eric Lindros.
Probably the last time they actually probably paid attention to the Flyers, but
probably.
But that's what makes us great, because we actually talk hockey and we talk hockey all year round.
Yeah, and by all means, listen, we're not trying to discourage people either from being able to hop on and watch at any point.
No,
but
absolutely not.
Again, let's cool the jets when it comes to critiquing somebody. If we don't know, let's just not do that.
And it's one thing to critique. It's a completely other thing to just bash.
I don't speak on things that I don't know. I don't speak on things that I don't know. You guys know this. I defer to you guys for a lot of things, because I'm not going to sit here and make outlandish statements and act like I know everything. There's nothing wrong with being able to learn from other people or acknowledge the fact that, hey, man, you know what? I only watched during the last couple weeks of the season, and I watched during the playoff time. What can you teach me so I can better learn what I'm watching? But I'm not going to sit there and speak about something I don't know about.
It's okay to ask questions when you don't know. That's perfectly fine. That way you get educated.
Chris V. Shark, really appreciate it, brother. Changing from your Islanders group to jump back with us. We love having you, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
We must be doing something right if we got an Islanders fan hopping off of an Islander stream and coming back to a Flyers stream, man. Thank you very much.
It's called real talk, baby. It's called real talk. We keep it
real. I will, the opposite of you, act like I do have the answers. You know what I mean? Like, so you'll say you don't, but I'll act like I do have the fucking answers. Right. And hopefully, we'll fake it till we make it if we have to. But what we can't run from, in terms of, like, I don't care how much hockey you watch, right? If you're a fan of the sport enough, you know what this hockey team needs moving forward, and not you. I know what you need. No. Nude. I like to see you nude.
That's more real talk right there for everybody.
Hey mama.
Wait for the Rick Rude thing to pop up.
We're good here, guys. We're good here. This is family. Is that you talk? Oh,
there it is.
I digress.
Love it. We got the appearance. Love it.
I'm just saying, like, everybody that has eyeballs knows what this hockey team needs, and that's goal scoring. That's legitimate goal scoring from your wings. You know what I mean? And it doesn't take a hockey genius or the biggest guru in the country to tell you what this hockey team needs. It just needs realists on A2D. That's all it needs. Like, I don't give a shit. This is a live reaction show. This ain't even like a hockey happy hour show that you can just strictly watch hockey. Like, I'm not on a hockey happy hour. I mean, I have been in my prime back when maybe the game started. You know what I'm saying, Matt?
Thank you, Lisa, by the way. Thank you, Lisa. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Right? Like, maybe like back in my prime days, Robbie, I joined the hockey happy hour a couple times, like when we all started. But, like, I
Tom Arnone, hockey guy. Yeah, I know well.
I'm a hockey guy. I don't give a shit what anybody says. My dad liked hockey more than basketball. So hockey was always on in my house more than basketball. I just enjoy watching basketball. So then people automatically think I don't like hockey. Like that's not how that game works. I can like all sports and know what the Flyers have needed for freaking years. I mean, I yelled about a goaltender for years, but I was a hater, right? You know what I mean? I yelled about Paul Holmgren for years, but I was a hater, right? So I mean, take it for what it is. Take it for what it is. We just keep it real here. That's it. That's all I have.
Other guys in the industry give a bad name for everyone because they give this stereotype out there that if you're 4 for 4, hockey is going to be your fourth, and that's not always necessarily the case.
No, not at all.
And listen, we got a little something for everybody at A2D. You know, we got our Philly diehard content and shows, and we have national flavor too. So I mean, we got a little bit of everything here. And for people who are just joining the stream, you know, if you love it, subscribe to it. Even if you like it, if you're so still subscribe, because you'll find a show that maybe you like better than others, and who cares? Because we're all one here, and we got tons of shows that give you all kinds of different shit. Even got wrestling shows. And I said from day one, I'll never have wrestling shows. But this crumb down here, this ginger sold me on that bullshit. So now, and then not only one, I got another. Then I got a fluffy guy selling me on the bullshit. You know, and then here we are. All of us right now.
By the way, phenomenal job to producer Ryan Brodo. I think I gave him the appropriate credit when he pulled off that black and white video earlier. Well done.
Again, you want to take us back, Rye?
Go back to the happy memories. Happy memory time. Memory lane. That's what we do in Philly.
Take us back.
That's good ending.
Accurate.
Oh,
well done.
We went from one feeling to the next real quick here. Real fast.
Them the NHL playoffs, man. It's a roller coaster ride. And it's like a team that maybe isn't on paper as good as you, when they're on that run, they're way better than you, and there's no catching them. And it's the only sport that's like that.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, you're right.
True.
I mean,
I just want to say too, shout out to Ryan too, because he's working his ass off with these comments tonight too.
Totally. We got a lot of great comments coming in.
Listen. You guys, listen. How about you guys? You guys can stop blowing now, because I mean, he's done a lot of great work back there. But I can literally listen. I can also do this. Hold on, we'll keep it going. This. We could do this. We could do that. You know what I mean? So
great job, Dad.
Everything
it's
else,
a tag team.
Job.
It's a tag team.
Yeah, everything else, great job. You know, no disrespect. You know, no disrespect.
Knee pads have been removed, sir.
Yeah, I just felt like there was a point where it better. I just felt like there was a point that was happening. There was a sneak in by a ginger. You know what I mean?
Yes. Although that's not descriptive.
Yes!
Geronimo! Dallas Stars are a prime example. 100%.
Absolutely, they are. They got hot at the right time, and now they're just absolutely rolling.
Actually,
I might even be picking them over the Knights that they're so hot. You know, and the Knights are going to be minus Reeves for game 1 too, from the suspension going to the head.
Well, we might as well. We might as well do that. Who do we think is going to represent the West and the East in the finals?
Dallas
for the West. For you, Bri? What about you, Chrome?
I got Vegas. I still think Vegas pulls this out, but this could go 7 games.
Okay. Robbie?
Yeah, I created reasons why Dallas would win and continue that momentum. I just think if you look at the body of work from the Vegas Golden Knights, they have the quintessential examples of all 3 assets. They're going to represent the West, and against a team that has all 3 assets as well in Tampa Bay Lightning, that's going to be a hell of a Stanley Cup final.
I tell you what, though, the way Dallas showed up in these playoffs is out of nowhere. They are they outscored the best offensive team in hockey in the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah,
that says a lot. And they're playing fantastic defense in front of Antoine Hudobin. And the funny thing about that entire series is, I think they went through 5 goalies between the two teams.
Right. That's the thing. Is that a lot of it was on Michael Hutchinson, your third string, and there was a lot of injury there as well. Right. With the Vegas Golden Knights, you have 2 guys that could be your starting goaltender right now in Lanier and Flower. You know what I mean? Fleury. So normally you don't like to have 2. Could you guys touch on how you felt about Travis Konecny's performance in the playoffs, because he was killing it pre-COVID? I saw effort. It's
One word, though,
disappointing. It's absolutely disappointing. I saw effort. I saw a heart there. It wasn't like he wasn't out there trying, but poor execution and absolutely zero finish. Bad decision making when rushing in on the zone as well. It was just a series of errors. In my opinion.
And again, Rob, to what we talked about last show too, Rob, the allowing himself to show his frustration to his opponents, I think it was a detriment. To allow them to see that they're getting in your head, they're going to continue to push and put pressure on you and make you make mistakes. So I think he'll learn from that going into, obviously whenever the next opportunity is in the same spot, hopefully next year.
Let's just put it this way. His playoff highlight was the meme that just came out a couple days ago. That was it. That's his entire highlight.
Yeah.
But
and Maddie, go ahead, because I want to say something about him too. So go ahead.
Sure. I will say this, and this is to piggyback off what Chrome said. Needs maturity. Absolutely needs maturity, because, like we were saying, he's showing his frustration, and I get it. You're going to be angry. You're going to be frustrated when you're not getting the puck in the back of the net. But like you were saying, Rob, can't show that to your opponent. You cannot show that they're in your head. You can't. Once you do that, you are fucked. You're far past fucked, actually. So you have to absolutely respond the way you have to respond is calm down and remember, you have to play a full 60 minutes. You'll get your shifts. You'll get your chances. At some point, you will get something in the back of the net. And don't try to force it, because when you try to force it, that's when you make mistakes.
Well, we're going to learn it real quick, man. Either he learns from the experience and, keeps a more stern, steady composure on the ice, or he's going to be one of those guys that's a head case and doesn't last very long in the league.
Yeah, and I think Rob said it earlier when he talked about errors and different things like that. This series and this playoffs, to be honest with you, part of that comes to what we touched on earlier, and I talked about the level of play goes up during the playoffs. So when you're a younger guy, sometimes it's not as easy just to be able to dive into that, right? So I think part of it's that, and that leads to errors. When the game speeds up on you, it leads to mental mistakes and turnovers, etc., right? And then it leads to frustration, because now you're not playing the type of game that you're capable of playing, which then leads to frustration. I have no problem with him showing frustration. You know what I mean? I have zero issue with it. It doesn't bother me. When guys show frustration, we get frustrated as a fan base. When things go wrong, we're like up in arms, right? So I mean, when a player does it, I almost feel like at least he feels like I feel. That's it.
Yeah, I'm fine with the frustration. It shows shows that he's passionate about something and that he's trying to do things the right way. It's just not going his way.
I'd rather see a breaking your stick over the crossbar, right?
Agreed.
Something that's a little him. It was more of like showing it, like insecurity or martyrism.
Agreed.
Like looking up at the heavens, like, woe is me. Why can't it go in? Like feeling you can't allow that type of frustration to come out there. Otherwise, it's passion, or you celebrate and you let out all emotion when you put the fucking puck in the back of the net.
Right.
Yeah. No,
I agree. And to piggyback off of what Tom said earlier, this is where I see the difference in the development and evolution of a guy like Carter Hart, who stays here and even on a bad game comes back and he responds. That's what we didn't see. We saw exactly the type of reaction that Rob's talking about, but then we didn't see the response on the ice at all. And that's where I have an issue with it. And I agree with you, Rob. I'd rather you break a stick against the ice or up on the boards or whatever it is, or on the crossbar, than to sit there and show them that they are getting in your head in that fashion, in their faces, and then do nothing to respond to it.
Right.
Yeah. Red Bay says, "What's up with the power play? Just couldn't figure out the hang up." I think it was just a lack of confidence.
Yeah.
That's big.
They lost it in that first matchup against Montreal, and they never really got it back. They never did.
You don't shoot, you don't score. You know, I mean, it's really that simple. I mean,
too many passes and a lot of foolish cross-ice passes.
Yep, trying to do too much, trying to be too cute, too fine, and it came back to bite him in the ass instead of just, you know what, you got an open look, blast it. Open
what
look.
You got to do is, and that's got to be made the norm. That's your fastball, and then the cross-ice pass is your changeup. You get it?
And guys,
you can't have your changeup be your main pitch, and then you have your fastball to full. It don't work that way.
Yeah,
No.
guys, a lot of time in your own zone. A lot of time back there flipping the puck around in your own zone when you're on the power play. That's a problem.
Too many passes backwards, cross-ice. And the primary objective, get the puck up beyond your blue line, and then you get creative.
Yeah, and the creativity comes with confidence, because
so glad you said that.
When you're sitting there and you're unsure of what to do with the puck, shoot it or pass it, 9 times out of 10, when you're not confident on the ice, you're gonna wind up passing the puck.
No, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. And Joe said, "Good year, Fly guys. They are a year ahead of schedule. They'll be back next year. A bright spot in an overall shitty 2020 calendar year. Yep. 2.5 months ago, we weren't sure we'd have sports to get upset about. See them back on the ice in December, and let's go Flyers." And as for Lisa's question of Rangers and Celtic, I don't want to answer that because I'm afraid I'll piss you off if I answer it wrong.
I'd say neither. Personally, I'd say neither. But I mean, Joe's absolutely right. They were a bright spot in a shitty calendar year. But here's a silver lining: we don't have to wait that long for the next season. We don't. It's early September. They're probably coming back in December.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing for this bad taste to be taken into? Something that you could do something about right away? Or do you think that their confidence is still going to be shaken from this point?
No, I think it's a good thing because they can take the time, rest up, get healthy again. And you don't have that long to sit there and just stew in, what ifs. You're getting back probably about a month and a half sooner than you normally would. And, you get back out on the ice quicker. You can sit there and redeem yourself for what had just happened, obviously a couple months ago. Yes, probably.
There was a good amount of yelling, to say the least.
Directed at the team, though, not between us.
No,
tonight, so it was a little. There was a little less yelling.
Ghost, I mean, in terms of Ghost, I'm actually thinking he might be that guy we leave unprotected for Seattle to go take. Yep. Honestly,
I'm okay with that.
I don't know if Seattle takes him. Maybe they do. Maybe they think he needs to change the scenery because he's still young. So maybe they roll with it. I don't know.
Yeah,
okay. I think he's an ideal candidate for that. I don't know that he's ever going to be what we expect or what he can be here. I think a change of scenery would be real good for him. And honestly, I think it would be good for us to move on.
I read what Spencer Davis asked earlier in the show, and relating it to that, he felt that Ghost should have been subbed in for Braun, who at times was playing poorly. I don't believe he can play that side of the ice. You know what I mean? If you want to keep it on the right hand, on the correct handedness.
I mean,
either he was subbing in for Hogg or he wasn't subbing in at all, and you needed Hogg's size.
Oh, absolutely.
The one thing about Ghost that I will continue to give him credit for is he is still a very, very solid player on the power play. It's the defensive side of the puck that makes me very weary with Ghost.
But he did play defensively well, though, in those games, even though the teams took advantage of the lack of size, so it necessitated Hogg to be put back in. But if you looked at individual plays, he was playing much better defensively. All that being said, I agree with you, gentlemen, 100% that, he'd be a guy that would be a good candidate to leave unprotected.
Yeah.
And at this point, too, call me crazy, I would leave Jake Voracek unprotected as well.
I believe. Oh no, I don't.
Does
think
he have a no
sign
trade clause?
I don't. Honestly,
I don't think he does.
I don't
Okay.
think he does.
I don't think
Because
he
you can help shed salary that way to try because how many times if you keep on trying the same recipe and expect different results, that's insane.
I think personally, I think Jake is another guy who'd benefit from a sniper because he's not that guy that's going to go out there and score your goals. He's a pass first player, always has been.
Yeah. No, that's
and
fair.
he was a vet.
It was a bold take. I knew I was a bold take when I said it.
Listen, I don't think it's a bad take.
I thought he was one of, in terms of the veterans that showed up in these playoffs, I thought he was one of the few bright spots that actually, I mean, did he have games where we didn't hear his name? Sure, but I think everybody does. That's when you expect somebody else like a Coots or a Giroux to step up and get him going. I felt like I feel like there's a place on this team for him. I feel like he is a guy who can. If there's a sniper out there,
right.
he can. I think that he makes enough plays with the puck, and he finds ways to get the puck to guys in good spots. I don't want to see Jake go at this point, not yet.
I mean, it was early on in the Montreal series, but the last couple of games of the Montreal series and this whole Islander series, he disappeared as well. That's just why I was throwing it out there. That was kind of a little disappointing for me. Because I love Jake. I'm saying this not as a fan. I'm saying that as a broadcaster. Sure. Because I want to keep Jake for 80 years.
No, absolutely. And I get it, but to your point, like Seattle's going to have to take some large contracts to get up to the cap, and to be there's going to be a lot of big contracts that are going to be protected, and if Jake has a no movement clause. And you feel like that he's not living up to the potential because let's be real. A lot of times, Jake Voracek is very careless with the puck and can be a turnover machine.
Yes,
and that comes with being a guy who likes to pass the puck. That it happens, but overall, he does have good vision. He has great setup ability, and I think he would be another guy who I would strongly consider leaving unprotected for Seattle. Just to get that cap relief.
Right, exactly. That's what I was going for. Raffle did play tonight. He actually put up about 10 and a half minutes. Didn't really make a dent tonight in his effort. So, not that I'm disappointed with Raffle's play, but, much like most of the team, they were on the milk carton.
Yeah, I mean, Raffle was one of the bright spots in this series as well. Another guy playing similar to Lawton, playing physical, playing gritty, getting into dirty areas. Trying to win puck battles.
He came back from an injury against Montreal, and his first game back, he scored a goal, and it was the first goal of the game. So it's just like I can't really hate Raffle in this year's run. He actually tried.
I didn't know that, Joe. That makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, Coots. Yeah.
That Konechny was playing injured. I didn't realize that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're so tight-lipped about it. You know what I mean? It's hard to know. I'd like to know
especially in that bubble.
And very important. Lisa was saying Celtic was the right answer, obviously.
Always the right answer.
Yeah.
So I would not have answered that. I would not have answered that question correctly. Then I'm glad I didn't answer.
I go with option C. I don't know what option C is, but I'd rather go option C.
Let's see here. So. It's Daniel Schreier, a disappointing showing tonight, guys. I'd love to see package put together for Johnny Hockey. Okay, he wants Johnny Hockey in Philly.
Johnny Hockey hasn't really been all that impressive in Calgary, to be honest with you. He's had a good year this year, but I feel like he's underachieved up to this point. So, I mean, maybe that's because he doesn't want to play in Calgary. Who knows? But I haven't seen the playing ability. I haven't seen him. Okay, let me put it this way. This is the best way to put it. I haven't seen him live up to the hype. In my eyes, I don't think he's lived up to the hype yet.
In playoffs, he was playing pretty well, though. I was seeing it a little bit.
Oh, this year, absolutely. This year, I think it was, to me, this year was his best year.
Right.
But I'm going up until this point, I don't think he's lived up to the hype. But that's just me.
Joseph says there aren't any good free agents, so don't expect any big moves. Only way Flyers could get rid of a contract like JVR is if we throw in Nolan Patrick in a pick.
Tarasenko, though, no, Joe? Yeah, I said that off the cuff. I wasn't 100% on that. Because he'd be
Tarasenko is there's a couple.
He is a free agent, right?
There's a couple top free agents out there this year.
Right. I'd go for it. I would go for Johnny Gaudreau. You know, a guy that maybe paired with Drew, maybe you could really show his pure goal scoring ability.
Hang on, I'm going to look this up real quick just to see who potential free agents are.
That's what I was about to look up.
Yeah, I need a minute to let my
while you look that one up, I mispronounced the name. It's actually they pronounce it Celtic, so I screwed that up. So
the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, so I screwed that up. Listen, I'm an American. I don't speak English. Sorry. My bad. I apologize.
Well, I think you said,
Put yourself on mute for 2 minutes and think of what you've done.
I know. I'm sorry.
I think you said it right, but I don't think you just said it the right way.
I have a list. I do have a list here. Top 30 unrestricted free agents. This is from SI Hockey News.
Hey, Crump,
top 30 unrestricted free agents of 2020.
Don't even mention anybody that can't score over 40 goals. Do us all a favor, because that's all we're looking for.
Sure, that's the point. Filter that shit.
Filter, yeah, get around a filter, babe.
Alex Pietrangelo, defenseman. Taylor Hall, left wing.
Taylor Hall will probably go back to Arizona, but he's a potential 40-goal scorer, but another guy who hasn't lived up to the hype.
Torrey Krug, defenseman.
Torrey Krug. He's saying he wants out of Boston too. He doesn't want another short-term team-friendly deal, so he might be on the move.
He's a defenseman, so who would we get rid of? Would you get rid of?
Well, Niskanen's on a 1-year deal, is he not?
No, I thought he was on like a 2-year or a 3-year.
Well, maybe Braun. I know
Braun.
I've seen Braun
definitely a 1 year.
Yeah, I think Braun has the short contract.
So you guys just want me to do?
Trade, so.
You guys just want me to read some of the offensive free agents on here? I can skip the defenseman at this point.
Yeah.
Mike Hoffman, left winger.
Not a bad option.
I'm going to probably pronounce this name incorrectly.
Yeah.
Evgeny Dadonov.
Oh, Dadonov.
Evgeny Dadonov. Yeah, he's another Florida Panther.
Anybody with Evgeny, I'll take, because it just sounds like I can score 40. You know what I mean?
Actually, that's not wrong.
He's another solid player. He's a really solid middle six player.
I'm sure he'd be happy to be in Philly as opposed to being in Florida. He likes to shoot themselves in the foot. You know?
By the way, I would like to announce my running for the Arizona GM position. So if we can get me out there.
I thought you were going to announce a candidacy for president for a second there.
Yeah.
Listen, no, I'm not that crazy. Tyler
Toffoli.
That one.
Listen, I'll take over the Arizona GM position.
I like Tyler Toffoli.
Tyler Toffoli?
Yeah, Toffoli's a little bit on the longer in the tooth, though. That's the only issue. Yeah. If you can get him on a shorter deal, a fairly cheap deal, absolutely.
He played well, though. He did play well when he went to he went to Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
Can you filter non-Americans? Can you filter I don't
just all of them have to be Czech or Russian. No Americans or Canadians.
Listen, we got Michael Granlund, but it's spelled Mikael, so that's not American.
No, that's fine.
No, it's pronounced Michael Granlund.
Michael, there you go.
I
like him. I think he gets scooped back up by Minnesota, though.
Jesper Fast.
That's an interesting
choice.
No.
Craig Smith is a good center. Good second, third line center as well.
No.
He's not a goal scorer, though.
Tom heard Smith, and he's like, no, Don, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Here's another fun one for you, Dad. Vladislav.
Yep.
Nemestikov.
Yep, I know Vladislav.
There we go.
Very close, Kroger. That was great.
I know him well, and absolutely. Any
Russia guy, he scores.
Listen, he's solid on the power play. He'll get you 25 goals a year,
and he meets the Tom Arnone criteria. He's of Eastern European descent. and he can score.
Listen, we filter American players in our, on our lines. There's no non-American, like we're not no non-American players, but we have to sprinkle a lot of this in and understand, because it's like the Phillies with drafting anybody from the DR or any Latin American countries. It's the same thing. How they just don't have prospects there when the whole world does. It's the same thing with the Flyers with European descent players. It's like we didn't figure out how to get over there. The whole world was over there, right? And we just weren't. And when we were, we just missed. So I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like the same thing. It's like we're living the same lives, just different sports. So can we just pull that Band-Aid off too? Like some Alexanders, some Evgenes, some freaking just guys' names you don't even know how to pronounce. You have to go to Webster's and get the pronunciations. Or rely on Jim Jackson to walk you through it. You know what I mean?
Guys whose last names consist of mostly vowels.
Yep,
that's it.
From an Italian, we love the vowels. And listen, a Russian wife inside. Can we get some Russians? You know what I'm saying? Can we get a couple Russians?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure. We
have one.
We have Provi, but we do need some more.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
We need
Imagine
more.
we have 4 pros. We have 4 pros. You know what I'm saying? 4 pros. We're like, we're looking us for the future. You know what I mean?
So
Maddie,
it's settled.
to answer your question, Maddie, real quick, Niskin's got one more year on his deal, so he's got 2021, and then he becomes a free agent in 21-22. And he's 5.75, so he's a quite a sizey hit for a D-man,
If I just drafted rosters just off of names for every sport, they'd be loaded. There's like a name game. I want to know the players' intangibles. I would just know where he was projected to be picked. You know what I mean? And just be a name game. And I think I would do a hell of a job just strictly off the names. And you know what I mean? I don't think I would ever reach. Just be like, that sounds like a great name. You know what I mean? Like, he's definitely got to play.
Tom, you should have been on that cool name draft we did back during the no sports time.
Yeah, you would have loved that show.
Yeah, no, I
that was a
I
fun
got
one.
any name right. So no, I wouldn't. I can't even spell Lena's name. I can't even say Lena's name in Russian after 9 years. No, I never have to, because that's not her American name, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I never have to. I mean, I wouldn't know how to if I said it a lot, but it's like Elena Elizova, like something wild. The last one's like wild, like. I almost feel like a Finneganov, Matt. You know what I mean? I have PTSD from a Finneganov with the Sabres.
With the fucking Sabres, yeah. Oh, my God.
This son of a bitch catching his own passes. Like, what are we about? How did he just pass the puck to himself? And the announcer, I know I say this story many times, but the announcer would say it like so fast, like a Finneganov throw, back to a Finneganov. I'm like, wait, Finneganov score. Wait, did nobody else touch the puck?
And he fucking torched the Flyers too in that series when Buffalo was a really young, up and coming team. Boy, how times have changed, and just a decade later.
I think Zelensova. I think it's Elena. I don't know. It's Elena.
You got to get this right. Luckily, hopefully, she's not watching.
No, it'll be fine. She'll get it. She'll get it. Then start talking at the name at the dinner table. Then start bringing it up and make me call you that full name like Russian stuff while you're drinking a cup of coffee with a pinky.
It's got the setup for a nice, cute story. In about 15, 20 years, Tom takes your Russian lessons, gets the accent, and then is able to say her name right. And she'll be so touched that you did that. 25 years, 30 years of marriage, and it'll be a beautiful thing. How
about this? When I allowed her to have a middle name for a child to be Russian, so she don't have a leg to stand on anymore. First name's Italian based, Roman based, which is just like some old school shit. Frank says like you're Russian. He's such a
that was a good.
I love him with names because he's such an issue, because he'll be able to walk you through any of them, which is great. Like, I love to have that guy around. We're like, how do you say that? Oh, that quick? Like you got it out that quick? Good for you. Good for you. Because I had no clue. No clue what you were talking about. But no, it's like Elena Elzelazova, like something crazy. There's too many. There's too many. Like the middle name is too aggressive, and then you forget the last name.
I know how much fun it is to watch Tom try to go through a name. You had to see us the night before the Uchenna Nwosu interview with the voice messages going back and forth. We must have like 35 voice messages back and forth, just trying to just double checking the name to make sure we had it right.
That's phenomenal.
Who, Uchenna?
Oh my God.
Uchenna Nwosu, yeah.
Uchenna, yes. I mean, I think I got it right there, right?
What about Pisa Tina Samoa?
The only time I think you got it right was when we were on the air. You kept sending it back. Wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And then we got on the air. Hey,
well, the guy's like Jordan in his prime. The guy's like Jordan in his prime. When the lights come on, I'm going to nail like Pisa.
That's right. You know? That was it.
Pisa was a tough one. I mean, but Pisa again, like both guys, phenomenal guys. Like even if you got it wrong, they don't give a rat's ass. You know what I mean? Because they're just good dudes. They're just good dudes. But
they were good dudes.
I mean, hell, there was a Flyers defenseman, Nick Grossman, he was okay, but everybody was spelling his name on the jersey with 2 S's because they figured that's the English way of doing it. No. Actually, it's spelled with 1 S this whole time. He never corrected it for like 2 years that he was on the team. It's like, what? You never corrected it? Like, you could have said at any point, like, yo, it's 1 S, dumbass. Like, you're putting it on my jersey. At least you get the name right.
people call me Arnon. I mean, I've had teachers Arnon me, Aroni, like, which doesn't even sound right. So, or look the part. So, I mean, I've had teachers that have been like, yeah.
One I've gotten is Kromanicki, and I'm like, where the fuck do you get Kromanicki at?
Yeah, I don't even get mad. I'm just like, yeah, what's up? You know what I mean? And if they say, did I get that wrong? I'll be like, yeah, it's Arnon, but you're good. You know what I mean? Like, you're fine. Like, so I don't put the pressure on the mistake because because the other side of it, when it's like, well, I got to say your name back, teach. I don't know your fucking name. You know what I mean? I don't know your name. So why am I going? I'm going to be petty. No, look at cousin Patty. Look at Glass House in the corner. That's how you get off the start school. Look at Glass House guy.
I don't have that problem. I got the easiest name in the world. So
yeah, if somebody screws your name up, they should just walk out the room.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely correct. It's great.
Yeah, with my last name though, I will admit I don't ever hold anybody like if you can't get it right the first time. I understand everybody gets it wrong. Everyone gets it wrong the first time. Everybody. Actually, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think everyone I've ever met has gotten my last name wrong when they've learned it at some point.
How do you get that from Barodo, Bradine?
Listen. I do have one incident where I don't know how my name got messed up. But yeah, my teacher should have been fired for this. Substitute teachers, and whenever he would, have a sub, would write the seating chart down for everybody. For some reason, he would always put my name down as Kristen. I don't know why.
Okay.
The sub would be like, Kristen. No Kristen in my class. She'd be like,
Jude dressed up.
They would get to the end of the roll call. They'd get to the end of the roll call and they'd be like, you didn't raise your name or raise your hand. I'm like, you never called my name. They'll be like, well, what's your name? Brian. But, you're not on the roster. Are you sure? I've been in this class for about 4 months. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the closest I got, and they corrected it on the sheet. I don't know. I don't know.
Daniel Shryock says he gets Shyrock. I can see that mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably
maybe thinking that R is silent.
See, I have to think that.
You know what I mean? I definitely did it to you.
I have to think that Pove over there probably gets, because especially being in Philadelphia, gets Provia all the time.
I get a lot of. You'd be surprised. You think it'd be the simplest name. It's obvious, Povia, right? But no, I get a lot of Pavia or Povio. Pavia. I get a lot of Povio too because there's Povios, and that's Fugazi right there. Because Latin roots, baby, it's Povia through the River Po, and the River Po goes through Naples.
Get it correct.
He brings up a great point because Chris Pronger called you Pav.
Yeah. A lot of people think it's
Well,
they always say O's and they go pa.
He did just have.
You all correcting that shit?
Though. That's true.
Mistake. No, you're
You
absolutely
all correcting that shit though? He call him whatever the fuck he wants to. You know what I mean?
The Hall of Fame defenseman, you don't correct.
Andy was ripping me for saying like that he called you the wrong name, and I go to him. You think I'm going to correct Chris Pronger? He can call me whatever he wants to.
Yeah, I'm going to checking him up against the boards. I'm looking like the Flyers tonight. You know what I mean? I want no parts of nothing. You know what I'm saying? I want no parts of nothing. That's any guess. Like you can say I had 2 guests say my name wrong 3 or 4 times. I don't give a rat's ass. Say it 10 more times wrong. I don't care. I don't care. Like that, you know what I mean? Like I was never gonna get upset with like, oh my God, you said my last name wrong.
Just as long as you get the A2D right, that's all I give a shit.
Yeah, I care about.
That's it.
Wrong way.
That's it.
Wrong way. All right, boys. You guys got anything else?
Nah, that's pretty much it. Oh, real quick, I'll just give my finals. I can't change it now because I've already had it in my bracket. Lightning, and I'm actually gonna go Vegas. So Knights, Lightning, Stanley Cup final for me.
Yeah, I'm
Tom.
gonna go. I didn't give mine yet either. I'm gonna go.
Sure.
I don't know, man. I have a feeling about this Islanders team, guys. They might be a team of destiny. I'm gonna go Islanders in Vegas.
I'm gonna go Dallas and Islanders.
I'm going Lightning. I'm going Lightning in Vegas.
All right.
So I'm with
That'd be a great
what I said
series.
before, too. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Stanley Cup Finals we predict here towards the end. Sad day, Flyers did get eliminated, but lots of positives, though, moving forward. We do have our goalie. We know that 1,010%. We have a lot of youth in the pipeline that still hasn't even had a chance to sniff the Flyers team yet, with opportunities there opening up. So with that being said, that'll be next year when we get started, whether it be in December or January. We'll see what happens when the NHL has officially nailed that down and move forward with it. But
Hey,
that being
Flyers,
said,
Flyers fans out there, Flyers fans, these are my parting words. We got a year ahead. We got a lot of exciting hockey, a lot to keep our heads up about, guys. I know it sucks tonight. I know it's going to hurt for a couple of days. But you have a bright future to look forward to. You have your franchise goaltender that we've been begging for the past 25 or 30 years. A lot of things to keep your head up high the next year, guys. And I believe that we're not just saying next year because that's the thing to say. Look out for that team next year.
Absolutely. It's a huge, bright future for this team.
No question about it.
Let yourself feel the hurt tonight, but tomorrow wake up, put your head up. Got a lot of exciting things to look forward to.
Absolutely. Keep your head held high. You got a lot to be proud for from this team. So,
all right then. So with that being said, gentlemen, it has been one fun, wild ride just in this week alone. And it's been a fun, wild ride for the season, not just because of the crazy pandemic and everything like that, but, just in general. Flyers had it was definitely a part of it.
Had a big deal. Had a little bit.
Yeah, had a part of it, owned a part of it. But we also had one hell of a season, and, we move forward to next year. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to everybody who chimed in, whether you were supporting the Orange and Black tonight or you were supporting the Orange and Blue tonight. Thank you for chiming in, and we hope to see you guys next week as well. And we always have to have a fuck Ralph comment somewhere on the show. But thank you all for chiming in.
Spidey.
Spidey. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in, everybody, and thank you all for joining us. And we hope to see you guys next week. Hockey Happy Hour will be coming at you with, once again, 10 o'clock. We'll talk about what happened with the conference finals and see where those series are at that time. Obviously, you can catch Tom on Fix AM in the PM, as well as Agree to Disagree.
Yeah, tomorrow, 12, baby. Agree, disagree. Let's go. Talking Phils, Flyers, Eagles starting. We got it all tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reach around tomorrow. Got the old reach around tomorrow, Matt. Coming up from behind you. We got it all.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate
Chris,
it.
thanks, brother. Looking forward to seeing your name pop up a lot more, pal.
Yeah, brother. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And obviously, Rob and Bri, we're of Hockey Happy Hour, and you can catch Chrome and me, Lazy Booking. Every once in a while, we like to pop into this very ring, only because we like to torture Andy, and
torture.
just for fun. Gotta get a kick some way. But we thank you for joining us, folks.
Hey, and for us too, birds of a feather this week, guys. Tuesday night's big here on A2D because we got two things going on, right? We got birds of a feather. We're going to be doing our season preview. So myself, Pete, Tori's going to be joining us. Big Dad might join us here. Maybe a couple others might pop on. And then what are we doing after that, Dad?
We got a fantasy draft, an A2D fantasy draft going live at 8 of us, I believe it is. So that'll be fun. We'll probably be kicking off like 9:30, 10ish, a little later, but something to enjoy yourselves with later on in the night. You know what I mean? We're here to put you to bed sometimes. Me and Maddie talked about that. Sometimes we're just gonna be here to put you to sleep. Put lay on the pillow. Maybe you go. That's where the new year
pillow talk.
Yeah, your shit runs out. You got the new freaking pieces like this. You're laying in bed, you're listening, and you know what I mean. It dies on you. That's what we want. Put you right to bed, better than your wife. That's how we operate here. And there's other shows. There's shows every goddamn night. Some nights you got 2. Some nights we just throw shows in because we'll just add round tables and different discussions on big nights. So it's everything for your taste and your taste buds. You won't be disappointed. It's like Mellow Yellow for Greg. You will not be disappointed.
Absolutely. This was just a show we threw together on a Thursday night.
Yep.
So,
oops. Get out of here.
All right. Okay.
All night.
All right. So we thank you all for joining us. We were brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, also Ambuck Services. If you need to get your lawn taken care of with, the bushes taken care of, gutters clean, deck restored, all you got to do is pull out the lawnmower for you to take care of that and then make your neighbors envious because you have the better lawn than them. That's Ambuck Services. Give them a call at 856-879-5530, and they'll take care of all that for you. And one last thing before we sign off, if you want to support A2DRadio.com, there is a way to do that. Brian, I stole your thunder last time, and I apologize for that. You can take this one away.
Head over to Philly Drinkers LLC, baby. PhillyDrinkers.com. Get all your A2D merch, hats, shirts, hoodies, tumblers, board shorts. We got the fall line coming out shortly. Weather's starting to get a little cooler. Get a hoodie. Get a zip-up hoodie. All at Philly Drinkers LLC. PhillyDrinkers.com, baby.
Yep, absolutely.
Shout out to Alex over there.
Yeah,
does an amazing job over there, Philly Drinkers. We love Alex.
He does great work. All right. Thank you all for joining us for the live reactions to Game 7 between the Flyers and the Isles. The Isles move on. The Flyers season comes to a close. We will see you guys next week here on A2D Radio. Actually, all of us will because it is the start of the next week tomorrow. So we'll see you next week, starting tomorrow here on A2DRadio.com. Peace, love, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear your mask. We'll see you guys.